ambao pia wamepata maafa. Tusifanye siasa na maafa ya Wakenya. Tusifanye siasa na mambo ambayo ni ya maisha. Na mimi nimesema mimi nimezaliwa Mkikuyu. Na Mkikuyu ni Mkenya kama Mkenya mwingine yeyote. Lakini ni lazima tuwe watu ambao tunatii sheria. Sisi tunaishi hapa, tunaketi hapa kila siku tukiunda sheria. Zile sheria tunaunda, tunasema kuna ile tunaita kwa lugha ya Kimombo riparian reserve ya mto. Mbona tuwaambie watu wetu waende wajenge kwa mto, na tunajua watapatikana na maafa pale. Pia tuwe wangwana kama viongozi. Watu wasibomolewe manyumba kiholela. Hiyo ni haki. Lakini pia tusilete siasa duni za ukabila. Hizo siasa wewe unaoleta hizo siasa ndizo zilipromosha kutoka mamlaka kuu kama kiongozi wa Kenya ikakupeleka kijijini. Ndio sasa kazi yako ni kunena kwa mazishi, unangojea nani ya kufe unene maneno machafu. Hata wakati ndugu yetu Mheshimiwa Ngeno aliaga dunia, ulisikia mtu kwa mkutano wa kisiasa akinena maneno machafu kabla ya familia. Mambo ya aibu. Na unajua Mheshimiwa Spika, kuna watu uzaliwa akiwa atukutu. Utukutu uko ndani yako, alafu unaingiza na ukabila, unaongezea chuki, unakuwa mweusi zaidi. Na unakuwa na roho chafu. Tuache siasa duni. Tuache kuchochea wa Kenya kwa misingi ya kikabila. Mheshimiwa Mwago amekuja amenena mambo yake hapa ambayo ni mambo muhimu ya mafuriko. Tusiangalie mambo ya mafuriko kwa misingi ya kikabila. Tuangalie mambo ya mafuriko ya kuwa mji wa Nairobi unafaa kuwa mji wa kisasa. Mji wa ile tunasema first world city. Na haitafanyika kama tutaambia watu wakibomolewa pale roundabout ya Githurai. Ona maafa ambayo yametokea Webuye, Mheshimiwa Spika, ambayo tulikuwa tunatuma risala za rambirambi leo. Hayo maafa yametokea kando ya barabara. Tunawaambia watu wetu waendelee kuuza kando ya barabara ilhali wamejengewa soko la kisasa. Badala kama viongozi tuwaambie watu kama limo soko limejengwa, tufanyie biashara kwa soko, tuache kuuza kando ya barabara, matatu zipate mahali kwa kuegezwa kando ya barabara. Hiyo ndio kuwa kiongozi. Lakini ukiwa mwanasiasa mtukutu, mwanasiasa mwenye roho chafi na umejaa na chuki, utaendelea kuwachochea wa Kenya. Na nimesema aibu kwa hawa wanasiasa. Sisemi ni Mheshimiwa Mwago. Mheshimiwa Mwago nimeona leo mara ya kwanza amekuja bunge na kuongea jambo ambalo linahusu watu wa starehe. Sijasikia siku nyingine akiongea mambo ya watu wa starehe. Nampongeza sana Mheshimiwa Mwago kwa kuleta huyo mjadala leo.
Honorable Junet.
Mr. Speaker, asante sana kwa kunipatia nafasi pia ili nichangie hiyo hoja. Mheshimiwa Speaker, ningependa kusema kwanza ya kwamba pale tunapotoka Bigori pia vile mama wa county wetu amesema. Mheshimiwa Speaker, unavyojua wewe umeenda Migori mara mingi. Migori ni miji ambayo iko na barabara moja, one highway, yani barabara kubwa moja. Na hiyo barabara kubwa ndio iko na daraja kubwa moja ambayo inagawa constituency yangu na yule jirani yangu. Na hiyo daraja ndio binadamu wanapita, lori zinapita, pikipiki inapita, kuku inapita, vyama vyote vinapita. Sasa Mheshimiwa Spika, ile daraja limefunjika kwa hii mambo ya maji. Imesombwa na maji. Kwa hivyo asante sana. Kwa hii mambo ya mafuriko. Sasa hakuna njia na mawasiliano yoyote kati ya upande hii na upande nyingine ya hiyo pali. Mheshimiwa Spika. Mheshimiwa Spika, kama serikali haitafanya jambo la dharura, sasa watu wengine watabaki ngambo hiyo na wengine watabaki upande hii, upande nyingine. Kuna hata mtu amewacha bibi yake upande ile na yeye bado yuko upande hii. Mheshimiwa Spika, amenipigia simu na hana njia yoyote ya kwenda huko. Mimi naomba ya kwamba tuchukue hatua ya haraka ya kidharura ili tuunganishe hiyo daraja ili wapate nafasi ya kutembea katika hiyo miji. Na hiyo ndio Uhuru Highway yao, hiyo ndio barabara moja wako nayo peke yake. Ya pili, Mheshimiwa Spika, hapa Nairobi sasa. Mheshimiwa Spika, hapa Nairobi vile kiongozi ya walio wengi amesema, gavana hako na jukumu la kazi ya kufanya. Lakini wananchi pia wako na jukumu ya kufanya. Mheshimiwa Spika, kama umeamua kujenga nyumba kwa mdomo ya mto, kwa mdomo, wewe ndio umekaa kwa mdomo ya mto namna hii, umeweka nyumba yako kwa mdomo ya mto, na ukitaka kutolewa unaleta maneno mingi ya ukabila, sasa si utakufa tu. Kwa sababu kama umejenga nyumba yako ya biashara ama nyumba ya kuishi katika mdomo ya mto, hauwezi kulaumu mtu mfuriko ikifanyika. Mheshimiwa Spika, tulitembea huko juzi, niliongea hapa, ulinipatia ruhusa juu ya tulipotembea huko Addis Ababa. Nimeambiwa hiyo miji familia 20,000 walihamishwa wakapelekwa sehemu nyingine, walitolewa kwa eneo za mto. Ndio maana unaona hiyo miji siku hizi hakuna mfuriko kama zamani. Sasa kuna watu wanataka kutumia kila kitu kwa njia ya siasa. Wakisikia watu wamekufa kwa mafuriko ni siasa. Wakisikia mjumbe ameanguka na ndege ni siasa. Ukisikia mama amegonga na pikipiki ni siasa. Na hatoi maoni tofauti ya kusaidia wananchi. Yeye ni kusema tu ya kwamba kwa nini watu wanahamishwa. Sasa kama watu wanahamishwa ili wasikufe, ili maisha yao itunzwe, sasa wewe unalaumu nani? Nimeona Mheshimiwa Amos Mwago amesema jambo la maana. Amesema watu yangu wamekufa, lakini kiongozi yake amefurahia watu wake kukufa. Inafaa wakuna mkutano wazungumuse. Kwa nini tunaruhusu watu yetu wanakaa kwa sehemu kwa hatari? Mheshimiwa Spika, wewe tembea ndani ya hii miji ya Nairobi, utakuja kuona ya kwamba watu wanakaa juu ya mto, watu wanakaa juu ya barabara, watu wanajenga vioski juu ya sijui wapi. Tukubaliane kama wananchi, tunataka kuishi kwa njia ya kisasa ama tuishi vile tulikuwa tunaishi bila sheria na bila njia yoyote. Tukubaliane. Lakini mtu ya kutumia siasa kwa maafa ya wananchi, hiyo awache. Na tunataka kutuma Mheshimiwa Muswago kwake. Tafadhali ongea na hiyo mtu. Maafa hawezi kuwa njia ya kujinufaisha kisiasa. Tafadhali, hatuwezi poteza Wakenya 50 na kitu. Na wewe bado unapiga kifua unasema, kwa nini watu wamehamishwa kwa mto? Sasa inamaanisha unataka watu waendelee kukufa. Unataka watu waendelee kukufa hapa Kenya. Mheshimiwa Spika, kwa kumalizia, mimi nataka kusema hivi. Miji ya Nairobi ni miji ya kila mtu. Hawezi kuwa miji ya watu fulani. Mji. Sio miji, ni mji. Mji. Mheshimiwa, jiji ya Nairobi ni jiji la kabila yote ya Wakenya na Wakenya wote kwa ujumla. Hata mimi maoni yangu, tulifanya makosa wakati tulikuwa tunatengeneza katiba mpya ya 2010 kuweka Nairobi kama county. Tungeweka Nairobi kama special zone metropolitan ambayo iko chini ya serikali kuu, ili Wakenya wote wapate manufaa ya serikali kuu, ili wapate njia kwenda kwao nyumbani jioni. Sasa imekuwa kama kijiji ya Kashagwa. Mtu anakufa yeye anapiga kelele, mtu akikufa yeye anapiga kelele, na anataka watu waendelee kukufa. Mimi naona, kwa kumalizia, Mheshimiwa Spika, hii jambo la Nairobi lazima bunge ijadiliane. Tukae na kikao rasmi tujadiliane mambo ya Nairobi, kwa sababu Nairobi hawezi. Na nataka kushukuru rais kwa kutengeneza ile inaitwa jobokasi ya kulete county pamoja na serikali kuu. Hiyo ni maono nzuri sana, kwa sababu yeye ameona miji hii ni miji kubwa ya nchi yetu na lazima iendelee mbele. Bwana Amos, mtu yako kama anataka kujenga kiosk, ajenge huko Munyoro. Hapa Nairobi awaachie wananchi waishi kwa uhuru kwa njia ambayo inawezekana. Asanteni sana.
Honorable members, order. Mwango, take your seat. Honorable members, allow me to acknowledge in the Speaker's Gallery St. Patrick Hill School, Kajiado West, Kajiado. In the public gallery, Kangari Comprehensive School from Gilgil, Nakuru. Koimbi Boys School from Kiharu, Murang'a. and St. Anne Surech girls from Gatundu North, Kiambu. On my behalf and on behalf of the House, we welcome the students, their teachers, and those accompanying them to the House of Parliament. There is another one in the Speaker's Gallery, Matungulu girls from Matungulu in Machakos. I extend the same welcome to you, to the House of Parliament. This was whose statement? Nyen's Edith. Who is the chair of water? Bowen Kangoko. Mama Naomi, you advise them to bring a response when we resume. Regional Development, Lokachapong. Is he in the house? Convey the message to him to bring a response when we resume. Mumina Bonaya. We have many statements, so move faster.
Thank you, Speaker. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to Standing Order 44-2C, I rise to request for a statement from the Chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Administration and Internal Security regarding the insecurity affecting teachers serving in the Isiolo-Kipsing region of Isiolo County. Honorable Speaker, the Northern Kenya region, particularly the Isiolo-Kipsing corridor, has persistently faced acute shortage of teachers in schools. Following concerns raised by leaders, the Teacher Service Commission deployed teachers to the area to address the long-standing staffing gaps and ensure that learners in this marginalized region have access to education. However, despite these efforts, the teachers who responded to this national call to serve in the region are now facing grave security threats that have made the environment extremely dangerous. Honorable Speaker, on Wednesday, 18th March 2026, armed bandits barricaded the Isiolo-Kipsing road and attacked unsuspecting road users, including teachers. In one incident, Mr. Leonard Muriungi Meme and Mr. Eric Mutuma, both serving at Lenguruma Primary and Junior School, were ambushed while traveling from school to attend a relative's burial. The attackers fired bullets indiscriminately at them, but the two teachers escaped alive, although their motorbike was stolen during the attack. In another incident on the same day, two teachers from Leparua Secondary School who were traveling home from duty, Mr. Dennis Moranga Bosire and Mr. William Gatobu Maingi, encountered bandits believed to be the same ones from the earlier attack along the road. While Mr. Dennis Moranga Bosire miraculously escaped the attack, Mr. William Gatobu Maingi was fatally shot, losing his life in the process. These tragic incidents have sent shockwaves across the teaching fraternity in the region. Teachers in the locality now live and work under constant fear and psychological distress, as traveling to and from their duty stations has become a life-threatening undertaking. Honorable Speaker, it is against this backdrop that I request for a statement from the Chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Administration and Internal Security on the following. 1. Measures being taken by the government and the Teacher Service Commission to guarantee the safety and security of teachers serving in the Isiolo-Kipsing region. 2. Status of investigation into the bandit attacks targeting teachers in the Isiolo-Kipsing corridor, including whether the perpetrators have been brought to book. 3. Immediate and long-term interventions being implemented by the government to restore security along the Isiolo-Kipsing corridor and ensure teachers can serve without risking their lives. And lastly, plans by the government to compensate the family of Mr. William Gatobu Maingi for the loss and other teachers for the loss of property. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Raso, first week after recess.
Obliged, Mr. Speaker.
Fatima Masito. Are you called Fatima or Fatimo? Why is it written?
Naitwa Fatuma, Mheshimiwa Spika.
Umeandikwa hapa kama
Not Fatimo.
Fatimo. Fatuma Masito.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Request for a statement regarding the escalating insecurity in Kwale County caused by criminal gangs. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provision of Standing Order 44-2C, I rise to request for a statement from the Chairperson of Departmental Committee on Administration and Internal Security regarding the escalating insecurity in Kwale County caused by criminal gangs commonly referred to as the Panga Boys. Honorable Speaker, in recent months, residents of Kwale County, particularly in Diani, Ukunda, and the surrounding areas, have experienced a disturbing rise in violent robberies and machetes attack attributed to criminal gangs commonly referred to as Panga Boys. Homes and businesses have been targeted, innocent people injured, and fear has gripped communities that largely depend on tourism, trade, and small-scale enterprises for their livelihoods. Despite reported arrests and intermittent crackdowns, the recurrence of these attacks raises seriously concerns about the depth of security assessment conducted, the effectiveness of current interventions, and whether there exists a coordinated and suitable strategy to dismantle and eliminate these gangs permanently. Honorable Speaker, it is against this background that I seek a statement from the Chairperson of Departmental Committee on Administration and Internal Security on the following, Mr. Speaker. Whether the ministry has undertaken comprehensive security assessment of the activities, structure, networks, and operational patterns of Panga Boys in Kwale County, and the status of investigation, arrests, prosecutions, and convictions arising from these incidents. 2, specific and immediate measures being implemented to dismantle and eliminate these gangs, including enhancement of police patrols, deployments, specialized security operations, intelligence-led crackdown, and strengthened community policing interventions in the affected areas. 3, Mr. Speaker, long-term strategies being instituted to address the root cause of youth involvement in criminal gangs, such as unemployment, drug and substance abuse, and social vulnerability, and whether structured rehabilitation. Reintegration and youth empowerment programs have been established to prevent the recurrence. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I don't know if recently you saw a clip on the media about what is happening in Mombasa. Mr. Nuno, I think, who is the area in charge of police, he was addressing exactly this. If it actually works in Mombasa, we can actually escalate if it will work in Kwale, but we will respond to the House first week after we resume. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Mama Masito. First week. Mwango Amos.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 44-2C, I rise to request for a statement from the Chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Education regarding the shortage of teachers employed by TSC, Teacher Service Commission, in day secondary schools within Starehe constituency, Nairobi County. Honorable Speaker, day secondary schools in Starehe constituency are currently experiencing acute understaffing of teachers, which has negatively affected the quality of education and increased the teacher-to-student ratio. Reports from school administrators, parents, and other stakeholders indicate that several institutions within the constituency are severely understaffed. For instance, Nairobi South Secondary School reportedly has only 10 teachers serving over 600 students, while Pumwani Girls Secondary School has approximately 29 teachers serving over 570 students. Similarly, CGHU Secondary School is reported to have only 13 teachers serving the entire student population, among other day schools within the constituency facing similar challenges. The shortage of teachers has significantly strained the education system in the constituency. This has resulted in overcrowded classrooms, excessive workload for the few available teachers, limited subject specialization, and compromised curriculum delivery, ultimately affecting academic performance and the overall quality of education. This challenge is further compounded by the implementation of the competency-based education, which requires adequate number of trained teachers across the constituency, across specialized subject areas. Over-reliance on BOM teachers has made day secondary education in Starehe very costly for parents, who most of them live in shanties in the informal settlement, who some of them have their shanties along the Nairobi River and Ngong River, and whom parents also trade in shanties along highways, some of which have been demolished in the recent demolitions that have been happening in this country, making the situation unbearable for most of the parents in Starehe constituency. Honorable Speaker, it is against this background that I request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Education on the following. Report on any recent assessment conducted by the Ministry of Education regarding teacher-to-student ratio in day secondary schools and findings of such assessment in Starehe constituency. Measures being taken by the Ministry of Education in consultation with the Teacher Service Commission to deploy additional teachers to the affected schools in Starehe constituency. Plans to ensure that teachers currently deployed to the schools receive adequate training, and long-term measures being implemented to ensure timely replacement of teachers in schools in cases of retirement, resignation, death, and other forms of natural attrition. Lastly, Mr. Speaker, sir, I'd like to appreciate the spirit of Maria Toinette that has been depicted by the majority leader and the minority leader regarding the issue of demolitions in Nairobi.
Is it? Order. I approved your statement. I didn't see Maria Antoinette in it. Yes. Chair Education. Majority Leader informed Education to respond to Honorable Mwango within the first week.
Yes.
Ojambo Oundo.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to Provision Standing Order 442C, I rise to request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Energy regarding the operations of Kudura Power, East Africa in Western Kenya. Honorable Speaker, Kudura Power East Africa Limited is a Kenyan enterprise specializing in the development and operation of renewable energy mini-grids in Western Kenya. Its primary focus is providing reliable and affordable electricity and clean water to rural communities. However, despite such a commendable initiative, the residents of Sidonge A, Diraho, Rukada, Mahurisi, Mudoriko, Wiri A and B, Namagumba, Mugonga, and Muhondo in Funyula constituency have raised concern on the contributions of the project to enhancing growth of the local communities. It's observed that the power supplied by Kudura is unreliable during the rain seasons and insufficient for heavy-duty appliances. In addition, a tariff of Kenya shillings 88 and 33 cents charged per unit, significantly high compared to the rate of 25 per unit charged by Kenya Power. Sadly, Kudura has barred residents connecting to their power supply from subscribing to alternative power providers to meet the electricity needs. Honorable Speaker, it's against this background a request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Energy on the following. A report of the regulatory framework under which Kudura Power East Africa Limited is operating, generating and supplying power in Western Kenya. Whether the operator has submitted the retail electricity tariff guidelines as required under Section 167 of the Energy Act 2019, and the agreement on leases granted to Kodura Power authorizing the imposition of tariffs on the power supplied and the regulatory measures in place to control and oversee such charges. 3, timelines within which Kodura will upgrade the infrastructure to ensure continuous and uninterrupted supply of power to households. And finally, a report on the terms of agreement between Kodura, Power East Africa, and the government, including whether the terms are subject to review to allow alternative service providers to provide power alongside Kodura. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Oundo, Energy, is Gikaria in the House? Majority Leader inform him first week. Okay. Nolfason Barongo. Is that how your first name is pronounced?
Yes. Thank you so much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to Standing Order 44.2c, I rise to request for a statement from the Chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Health regarding measures to improve maternal health outcomes in the country. Honorable Speaker, Article 43.1 of the Constitution safeguards the right to highest attainable standard of health, including reproductive health care for expectant women. Regrettably, cases of expectant mothers losing their lives or babies during delivery continue to be reported in the country. On Friday, 27th of February, 2026, Mrs. Charity Nyaboke Nyasetia of ID 37, a few digits have been hidden, ending with 66, and her unborn fetus tragically died just before delivery at the Kenyan Level 4 Hospital in Bomachoge, Borabu constituency. The heartbreaking double loss is concerning given the claims that it may have resulted from delays or possible lapses in the provision of timely and appropriate emergency obstetric care. Honorable Speaker, while the delivery of health services is primarily a devolved function, the national government retains the responsibility for health policy, standards, and regulation of health professionals. Mrs. Nyasetia's death raised questions on enforcement of national standards for maternal health care, emergency referral systems, and regulatory oversight over health facilities and medical practitioners. The seemingly avoidable death calls for clarity on the effectiveness of implementation of national policies, standards, and regulatory mechanisms governing maternal health care in counties. Honorable Speaker, it is against this background that I request for a statement from the Chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Health on the following. Number 1, a report on the status of investigations, if any, undertaken by the relevant national health sector regulatory and oversight bodies into possible professional negligence or breach of national health care standards surrounding the death of Mrs. Charity Nyaboke Nyasetia, and disciplinary action, if any, taken against those found culpable of negligence. Number 2, the measures by the national government through the Ministry of Health and relevant regulatory bodies like the Kenya Medical Practitioners and Dentists Council to ensure compliance with national standards for maternal and emergency obstetric care by health facilities in the country. Number 3, the status of implementation of national policies and programs aimed at reducing preventable maternal and neonatal deaths, including strengthening emergency referral systems, ensuring availability of skilled personnel and access to essential maternal health commodities, particularly in Kisii County. And finally, the mechanisms available for collaboration between the national and county governments to ensure accountability and continuous improvement in maternal health care services. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Barongo. Chair Health, Dr. Nyikal. First week.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. First week after recess.
Excellent. Waname Wamboka.
Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 44.2c, I wish to request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Housing, Urban Planning and Public Works regarding the increasing incidences of building collapses in various parts of this country. Honorable Speaker, in the recent past, several buildings across the country have collapsed, resulting in loss of lives, serious injuries, destruction of property, and displacement of affected families. Reports following such incidents have often pointed to non-compliance with approved building standards, the use of substandard construction materials, weak enforcement of existing regulations, and negligence by relevant regulatory and oversight authorities. While the issuance of construction permits and enforcement of compliance with approved building standards is primary a devolved function, the national government retains the responsibility for the formulation of policies, regulations, and standards governing the construction sector. The recurring nature of these instances raises concerns regarding effectiveness of the current regulatory framework governing the construction industry, including the approval, inspection, and enforcement mechanisms. Honorable Speaker, it is against this background that I seek an inquiry into the matter from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Housing, Urban Planning and Public Works, pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 26, 216, 5A, and 218-2 on the following. 1. Circumstances that have contributed to the increasing instances of building collapses in the country, including the role of regulatory and oversight bodies in approving and monitoring in respect of each collapse and construction works. 2. The current building approval processes, inspection, enforcement mechanisms, and the level of compliance with national construction standards across the country. And 3. Accountability measures in place, including investigations, prosecution of culpable persons, and proposed mechanisms for compensation and support of the victims and affected families. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Amboka. Rindikiri, that is to your committee.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, we will give our report 1 week after we're back on recess.
Thank you. Allow me to acknowledge in the Speaker's Gallery St. Stephen Makindu Boys from Kibwezi West, Makueni. When you are called out, you stand up, students, to be acknowledged. Thank you on my behalf and on behalf of the House. We welcome the students, their teachers, and those accompanying them to the House of Parliament. I thank you. Majority Leader, your Thursday statement. How did my signature come onto your statement?
Okay. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Pursuant to the provision of Standing Order 44-2A, I rise to present the following statement on behalf of the House Business Committee, which met on Tuesday, 10th March 2026, to prioritize business for consideration during the week and the business coming before the House in the week we resume from recess. Honorable Speaker, I wish to commend the leadership of this House, all our committees and members for the dedication and cooperation exhibited in this first part of the session so far. Through our collective collaboration, I can authoritatively confirm that we have set a good pace and dispensed with matters that require consideration within the set statutory timelines during the first session. In a record time, Honorable Speaker, we have been able to conclude key priority business, including the budget policy statement for the financial year 2026-2027, the 2026 medium-term debt strategy,
and the Division of Revenue Bill of 2026, all being budget-related and priority business. The House also passed the National Infrastructure Fund Bill, now an Act of Parliament of 2026, a critical legislation that provides a financing framework for accelerated implementation of flagship infrastructure projects under the bottom-up economic transformation agenda. Additionally, the House passed the Miscellaneous Fees and Levies Amendment Bill of 2025 and approved nominees for appointment to the National Lands Commission and an ambassador to the Kingdom of Denmark. Honorable Speaker, in accordance with the calendar of the House, we are scheduled to take a short break following the rise of the House today and resume on Tuesday, 31st March 2026 at 2:30 p.m. As we take a well-deserved break, it is worth noting that the House still awaits reports by committees on various business referred to them for consideration, including those that have been referred today. This short recess period therefore gives committees ample time to expedite consideration of business pending before them and thereafter submit their reports to the House for consideration upon resumption of the House. Some of the key priority business pending before committees include the following. One is the supplementary estimates for the financial year 2025-2026, which committees are already considering. Two is a public petition number 19 of 2025 from the Cabinet Secretary for Environment, Forestry and Mining regarding the degazettement of specified sections of 4 public forests and the determination of related claims to the forests, which are South Nandi at Chepkumia area, Tarbo Forest, at Manzini area, Mount Elgon Forest, at Chepkuyuk area, and Kakamega Forest, at Shiro Shaviringa area. 3 is the Sovereign Wealth Fund Bill of 2026. 4 is the Special Economic Zones Amendment Bill of 2026. 5, the Senate amendments to the Cooperatives Bill of 2024 and the Technopolis Bill of 2024. And 6 is the mediation process on the Food and Feed Safety Control Coordination Bill of 2023 and the National Disaster Risk Management Bill of 2023. Honorable Speaker, when the House resumes on Tuesday, 31st March 2026, it is expected to consider the following business, some of which are listed in today's order paper, should they not be concluded in the course of business today. One is consideration of session of paper number 3 of 2025 on the partial divestiture of Safaricom, PLC by the Government of Kenya, if not concluded today. 2 is consideration of session of paper number 6 of 2024 on the National Aviation Policy. 3 is ukaguzi kwa asasi zisizo huru kikamilifu za Jumuiya ya Afrika Mashariki na ushoroba wakati katika Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania. 4 is reports of the Kenya delegation to the 147th, 148th, 149th, and 150th assemblies of the Interparliamentary Union, IPU, and related meetings. 5 is consideration of a petition regarding delay in resettlement of squatters in Koibem village of Nandi County. 6 is the 10th report on the audited accounts of the National Government Constituency Development Fund for specified constituencies for the financial years 2016-2017 to 2021-2022. And 7, the 5th report on the audited accounts of various state corporations of Western Region for the financial years 2018-2019 to 2020-2021. And 8, the 11th report on the audited accounts for the National Government Constituencies Development Fund for specified constituencies for the financial year 2016-2017 to 2020-2021. 9 is the 7th report on the audited accounts of various state corporations for the financial years 2018-2019 to 2020-2021. And 10 is inquiry into the pricing of tea in Kenya. The House Business Committee will also schedule the consideration of various individual members' bills, which are awaiting second reading of the Committee of the Whole House, respectively. Finally, Honorable Speaker, in accordance with the provisions of Standing Order 42A, 5 and 6, I wish to convey that the Prime Cabinet Secretary and Cabinet Secretary for Foreign and Diaspora Affairs will appear before the House on the afternoon of Wednesday, 1st April 2026, to provide reports on 1, the status of implementation of the Interagency Technical Committee report on the review of designated hardship areas and payment of hardship allowances in the public service, and 2, the recruitment of Kenyans into foreign armies, particularly in the Russia-Ukraine war. Honorable Speaker, the Prime Cabinet Secretary was scheduled to appear yesterday, but you did communicate his apologies as he was out of the country in Russia. And we'll expect him to appear the first Wednesday when we resume to answer to those two issues. In conclusion, on behalf of the House Business Committee, and indeed on my own behalf, I wish all of you members, honorable members, a wonderful recess period. It's a working recess as you spend time with your families and work in your committees during this short recess, and also as you discharge your constituency obligations to the people who sent you to this august house. I also take this opportunity to wish our Muslim colleagues an early Eid Mubarak, because it most likely will fall during this recess period. So Eid Mubarak to all our Muslim brothers and sisters. And I now wish to lay this statement on the table of the House. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Majority Leader. Last on the statements, Fatuma. Yes, Mwenje?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
On the Majority Leader statement?
Yes, please, Honorable Speaker.
Go ahead.
Honorable Speaker, the Majority Leader has stated that the Prime Cabinet Secretary will be in the House once we resume, and considering what happened in Nairobi, and that the Prime Cabinet Secretary has taken over some, I believe he's the one in charge of some of these functions, would it be okay to request the Majority Leader to inform the Cabinet Secretary to come and give us a bit of a report of some of the measures and actions that are going to be taken, especially in light of the cooperation agreement that was signed between the national government and the county government of Nairobi?
Right, you are right, but the right thing to do is file a request in my office. We have 2 weeks recess. I'll then motion the Majority Leader to include it in the issues that he will come to brief the House on. So if you do that, it will be done. Yes, Oundo?
Honorable Speaker, with your benevolence, can we also joyride and also add one more question?
Which one?
I have an issue that has remained pending for so many, many years in my constituency concerning the construction of a border crossing point.
At Mulwanda?
Yes, at Mulwanda, good, you know.
Yes.
It has remained pending for so many years. We have been with you at the highest offices. We don't seem to be moving.
I thought we opened that border post with Mzee Kibaki when he was president.
Nothing, not even a single stone has ever been built, has ever been done. Nothing. It's not even operational.
But it's
since 2009.
It's gazetted as an international border point.
Yes, but now construction, nothing has happened. We have been with you to see in State House the president, and whatever we have said, nothing has moved. So is it possible we can
also file a request?
Yes.
Majority Leader will pass it on.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Next order. Hold on, Fatuma, sorry I had called you, but let me acknowledge we have become very popular with schools. We have many, many schools coming in. In the public gallery, we have Milimani High School from Naivasha, Nakuru. We have Riverbank PEF Academy from Starehe, Nairobi. And we have Sawagongo. I thought it's called Sawagongo, Meandika Sawangongo. Sawagongo High School from Game, Siaya. On my behalf and on behalf of the House, we welcome the students, their teachers, and those accompanying them to the House of Parliament. Fatuma?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provision of Standing Order 42/2C, I rise to request for a statement from the Chairperson of Departmental Committee on Education regarding the status of disbursement of Kenya DAD Partial Scholarship Program. Honorable Speaker, the program was initiated in June 2010 by the Government of Kenya through the Ministry of Education to support capacity building for faculty in public universities. The first cohort comprised 30 beneficiaries, and the program was initially set to run until 2015. Following its expiry, the government sought an extension, leading to the signing of a renewed cooperation agreement with the German Academic Exchange Service, DAD, on 11th July 2017, extending the program to June 2025 and later to September 2027 through a further agreement signed in September 2020. Under the cooperation framework, the National Research Fund, administrators and the program on behalf of the Minister of Education by remitting monthly stipend of 1,200 euros per beneficiary through DAD, with the National Treasury as the payee. However, in financial year 2023-2024, budgetary constraints resulted in partial payment of 32 million, leaving an outstanding balance of 71 million. Honorable Speaker, despite the National Assembly approving a supplementary allocation of 70 million under the Promotion of Research and Development vote, the funds were not released. As now, pending disbursement stand at 71 million for the financial year 2023-2024 and 80 million for the financial year 2024-2025. Notably, 19 Kenyan students currently enrolled in Germany under the program face uncertain stipends due to this shortfall. The situation jeopardizes the academic welfare of the students, undermines the Kenyan commitment under the Kenya-German Cooperation Agreement, and risks eroding the country's credibility in supporting international scholarship programs. Honorable Speaker, it is against this background that I request the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Education on the following: an explanation as to why the approved supplementary allocation of 70 million towards Kenya DAD partial scholarship program was not released by the National Treasury. 2, measures the Ministry of Education and National Treasury are taking to urgently settle the outstanding 71 million and 80 million for the financial year 2023-2024 and financial year 2024-2025 respectively. 3, safeguards to ensure that the 19 students currently enrolled in the program continue receiving stipends without interruption. And last, long-term financial and policy mechanism to secure sustainable funding for the program until its expiry in September 2027, and plans in place for alternative funding beyond September 2027. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Fatuma. Majority Leader, I don't see anybody from education here. Naomi, you can inform them to bring a response in the first week after recess.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and we will do that. I will tell the chairman to do that. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Fatuma?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. On a different note, on behalf of Honorable Dege, I had requested for a statement from the Ministry of Lands through the committee, and they were supposed to give a response today. I can see they are not in the House, and they have not communicated. And it was urgent, Honorable Speaker, on the land issue in Nyatike.
And you are not Odege?
I am a member of Parliament for Migori County, and I'm a resident of Nyatike, and I am a cousin to Honorable Dege.
That notwithstanding, he needs to write to the Speaker appointing you to hold a brief for him. The next and last on statements, we have, I got a written notification that Mayaka would receive a statement on behalf of Doris Donya. Are you properly briefed? Yes, Kawaya.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
How long is the statement?
Just a few pages. Maybe
how long are you going to take to respond?
Six or so minutes.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. This is a response to a request for statement by the Honorable Donya, MP for Kisii County, regarding the persistent discharge of raw sewerage into public spaces. In particular, Honorable Speaker, the Honorable Member sought a report on the underlying causes of the recurrent sewer overflows experienced during rain seasons in urban and peri-urban areas, including an assessment of the condition and capacity of existing sewer infrastructure, and 2, the immediate remedial interventions being undertaken to contain the current health and environmental risks, including emergency response mechanisms, public health safeguards, and accountability measures against negligent sewerage service providers. It is to be noted that, Honorable Speaker, unfortunately, there is a recurrent phenomenon where, during heavy rainfall, raw sewerage often overflows into roads, residential estates, marketplaces, and other public areas. This poses grave public health dangers, including the risk of waterborne diseases such as cholera and typhoid, compromises environmental integrity, contaminates water sources, and infringes on the dignity, safety, and right of our citizens to clean and a healthy environment. Honorable Speaker, on the report of the underlying causes, the National Environment Management Authority, established under the Environmental Management and Coordination Act, EMCA 1999, to exercise is established under the EMCA Act 1999 to exercise general supervision and coordination over all matters relating to the environment, and is a principal instrument of government in the implementation of all policies relating to the environment. Honorable Speaker, it is further mandated to monitor and assess all activities, including those being carried out by relevant lead agencies, in order to ensure that the environment is not degraded by such activities, and to ensure environmental management objectives are adhered to. Two, moreover, the Sustainable Waste Management Act 2022 vests the mandate of waste management to the county governments, while the Water Resources Authority is obliged to ensure sustainable management of water resources as provided for under the Water Act 2016. Three, the Water and Sanitation Company under the jurisdiction of their respective counties are responsible for sewer management to ensure sanitation in the urban and peri-urban areas. Honorable Speaker, the key underlying causes include: one, improper solid waste management. The solid waste is not sorted at the sources, not regularly collected, and often disposed to undesignated sites, many on road reserves, open spaces, market places. During heavy rains, all the waste is carried into the storm drains, sewer manholes, and blocking the water movement. Blocked sewer infrastructure on site treatment plants in areas that are not sewered will lead to sewer overflow. Two, Honorable Speaker, dump sites on the riparian reserve. Many dump sites and waste sorting and transfer stations operate from riparian reserves, with some of the waste getting into the rivers, causing pollution to the surface water with leachate pollution, both surface and groundwater. Most of the sewer infrastructure run along riverbanks, since this is the lowest gradient for the sewer flow through gravity. Honorable Speaker, when it rains, the waste illegally on the riparian reserve blocks and damages the sewer line, resulting into sewer overflow. Three, liquid waste discharges. The liquid waste from burst sewers, unsewered informal settlements, and some industrial players without adequate pretreatment. While undertaking compliance inspections, the authority has also noted dilapidated sewer lines, some of which are out of use. When it rains, Honorable Speaker, the volume of the contaminated water increases the pollution to the environment. Wastewater treatment facilities, Honorable Speaker, the waste treatment facilities are many a times overwhelmed with the waste and become inefficient in treating the received waste before discharging to the rivers. Furthermore, the sewerage infrastructure is inadequate and does not cover all parts of Nairobi City. Honorable Speaker, a member mentioned that the infrastructure currently, what is currently handling is basically not what it was built to handle. Various instances of sewer bursts have been reported at NEMA, an indication of persistent sewer bursts, especially during rains. Five, riparian reserve encroachment. This is both in informal and formal settlements, with the cases being more pronounced in the informal settlements along rivers. Encroaching structures on the riparian hinder smooth flow of water and results in the overflow of pit latrines as well as septic tanks, leading to sewer overflow. On the immediate remedial interventions being undertaken to contain the current health and environmental risks, Honorable Speaker, in addressing the above pollution causes and ensure sustainable management of the environment, the Ministry of Environment, Climate Change and Forestry through NEMA has developed and is implementing the following strategies. A, governance structure. The authority has established an urban rivers restoration program as a section under Enforcement Directorate for coordination purposes. The section undertakes regular inspections of the river ecosystem to document and monitor the status of urban and peri-urban rivers while undertaking appropriate enforcement actions. The section works closely with non-state actors, private sector NGOs and CBOs operating in the river ecosystem to facilitate cleanup activities. B, development of plan of action, development of the implementation of the action plans for pollution control strategy, which have been integrated into county environment action plan with the county integrated development plans, CIDPs. The strategy contains key interventions as enumerated there, which include institutional rearrangements, enhanced public awareness, education building of partnerships and advocacy, sustainable solid waste management, stoppage of encroachment of the riparian reserves, pollution control in rivers, sustainable land management in catchment basin, research, data generation and management, and 8, river rehabilitation and beautification of river banks, legislation and enforcement, and immediate and ongoing actions. On recommendations, Honorable Speaker, political goodwill, and this will go a long way, Honorable Speaker, because part of the causes of this problem is encroachment in riparian areas, and we must have the political goodwill so that in resettling these people, then the matter, this particular item is not, issue is not politicized. There is also a need for interagency coordination, because this matter involves many, many stakeholders, including the planning departments, the metrology department, the Ministry of Water, etc. Sustainability in keeping the river clean, and also, more importantly, Honorable Speaker, adequate resources. One of the challenges NEMA is facing in ensuring there is compliance is actually lack of resources. Honorable Speaker, in conclusion, the ministry through NEMA will continue to collaborate with other relevant states and non-state actors in our pursuit for a clean, safe, and healthy environment for all, as envisaged under Article 42. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. This statement is signed by the Honorable CS Deborah Barasa, Cabinet Secretary for Environment, Forestry, and Climate Change.
Mayaka, umetosheka?
Honorable Speaker, thank you for this opportunity. On behalf of the Honorable Doris Donya, I'd like to register her dissatisfaction with the response that has been received. And some of the issues that she actually cites is, for example, the fact that NEMA did not indicate when was the last time they actually conducted a cleanup activity, what they have done in reference to the blocked drainage issues, where does the raw sewage come from, and if they have done any research that gives them an indication of how many apartments, especially in the city, that have sewerage management points. And Honorable Speaker, citing the example of what happened, especially in Nairobi City during the rains that a lot of members spoke about earlier, the interventions that have been mentioned by the chair do not really reflect that there's a solution that has been given. So just registering her dissatisfaction. Thank you.
Why are you satisfactory?
Honorable Speaker, you had directed that we provide a preliminary response to this statement yesterday.
Yes.
And this is a matter that requires us to engage more with the member. I want to agree that a lot needs to be done. However, it is also important to know that NEMA will not basically solve the issue of blocked sewer. It's a whole issue that needs all the players. NEMA takes the role of ensuring that there is supervision, there is inspections, so that the right thing is done. For that to happen, then we need to resource NEMA. I've just said one of the challenges we are facing with NEMA now is lack of enough human resource to be able to undertake its mandate. And therefore, Honorable Speaker, I truly believe that we need to engage further on this particular matter if we really need to solve this particular problem permanently.
Yes, Ngogoyo.
Chair, and through you.
Which chair?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Through you, and because the issue of Athi River, which the source of Athi River you know very well is Ngong. Mr. Speaker, the perennial issue of sewerage disposal, especially in peri-urban areas that border Nairobi to the Athi River, has continued being continuous. I want to specifically ask you, Speaker, to task the chair, because the Environment Management Control Act provides means and ways of mitigating. And remember, you might not be 100%, but in environment, we say you mitigate. And I say this as a postgraduate holder, and as somebody who has knowledge in environment matters, especially me, being a certified environment impact assessment analyst. One of the things the chair you have not done is to take the ministry to task on what they should be able to do. I know I serve in the broadcasting committee, courtesy of Ichungwa, but in environment we say, even if you have not sorted out the problem, mitigate, reduce the chances of causing more harm. I would request the chair, can you please come up with a report of how you can help, even those sewerage that are being disposed. At least there is how you can treat, so that whatever you take to the river, it has less damages to the environment. And it is allowed in the MCA Act for you to help the people who are along the rivers on what they should do for them to reduce the chances of continuing to damage the environment. You have not come up with that in the report. And Speaker, maybe it should even be enlarged. The peri-urban areas, where the Athi River comes through, continues to be destroyed by the peri-urban areas around the area of Nairobi. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Kawaya.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. We endeavor to do more, and just for the comfort of the member, a lot is happening. And if you look at what was happening with the river banks and Nairobi River, the section where a lot of work has already been done under the program of cleanup with Nairobi River, actually that section did have the overflows. So NEMA is still actually working on that. But remember, if we want a permanent solution, we must empower NEMA to ensure compliance. Because some of these things we are asking NEMA to do should actually be done by the industries themselves. It is a responsibility of an industry. If you are setting up an industry, you should not set up an industry without proper disposal of your waste. We should not set up industries, then ask NEMA to do cleanup of the waste that are produced by the industries. What we're asking for is to empower NEMA to ensure compliance, so that all the industries we are setting up also do proper waste management. That said, Honorable Speaker, I also want to make an undertaking that on behalf of the committee, that we will engage further with the Honorable Ndonya, and also engage, we didn't have enough time to engage with the ministry because the directive was only yesterday. We'll engage more and also provide additional information to the satisfactory of the member.
What we will do, Chairman, is I actually also find your response wholly inadequate, because Donya's question or request for a statement was raw sewage going into public places, not just rivers, football pitches and all these places. So let's take that as a preliminary statement, and when we resume, relook at what she requested what Ngogoe has said, what Mayaka has said, and then bring a comprehensive statement when we resume.
Most obliged.
Next, let's dispose of orders number 9 and 10. Then we go to order number 8. Clerk.
Order number 9, the Special Economic Zones Amendment Bill, National Assembly, Bill number 8 of 2026, first reading. A bill for an act of parliament to amend the Special Economic Zones Act and for connected purposes. Order number 10, the Country Library Services Bill, Senate Bill number 40 of 2024, first reading. A bill for an act of parliament to provide for the establishment of county libraries and county directorate of library services in each county, the functions and power of each county directorate of library services, and for connected purposes.
Go back to order number 8.
Order number 8, procedural motion, limitation of debate on a specified sessional paper.
Majority Leader.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to move this motion in an amended format to read that notwithstanding the resolution of the House on Wednesday, 11th February 2026, relating to limitation of debate on a sessional paper, this House resolves to extend the debate on sessional paper number 3 of 2025 on partial divestiture in Safaricom PLC by the Government of Kenya by a period not exceeding 1 hour. Honorable Speaker, that's why I said I want to move it in an amended format, considering it's already 5 p.m. and we have other business after that. We secure the indulgence of the House, Honorable Speaker, to extend time because in line with our procedural motions passed at the beginning of this session, this motion was to go for 2.5 hours. And last night when we left here at some minutes to 9 p.m., we had a number of members, including Honorable Anderto, who are waiting to speak, Honorable Munyoro and myself, Honorable Junet, who are waiting to speak, and we could not afford to speak within those 10 minutes. Therefore, we seek your indulgence so that at least the members who were seated there until very late at night wanting to contribute to this debate have an opportunity. I think Honorable Ariko was also here, but I think he contributed. I'm not sure. He contributed, but we were seated with him here until 9 p.m. last night, so that we give them an opportunity to contribute within that 1 hour. And that's why we thought we'd do a procedural motion to allow at least those who stayed here on until very late to have their say in this motion, Honorable Speaker. And I beg to move and request the Leader of Minority, Honorable Junet Mohammed, to second.
Junet.
Mr. Speaker, I second.
Honorable members, I'll propose the question, which is that notwithstanding the resolution of the House of Wednesday, 11th February 2026, relating to limitation of debate on sessional paper, this House resolves to extend the debate on sessional paper number 3 of 2025 on partial divestiture in Safaricom PLC by the Government of Kenya by a period not exceeding 1 hour. We put the question. Order, Brighton. Order, Brighton. You are a second termer. You can't be walking around when the Speaker is on his feet. Honorable members, I now put the question, which is that notwithstanding the resolution of the House of Wednesday, 11th February 2026, relating to limitation of debate on a sessional paper, this House resolves to extend the debate on sessional paper number 3 of 2025 on partial divestiture in Safaricom PLC by the Government of Kenya by a period not exceeding 1 hour. As members of that opinion say aye. Aye. Will those of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Now the motion had only 12 minutes to go. We have added 1 hour. I have names here of people recommended to be given priority. Let me know if they are in the House. Harrison Kombe. Is not. Order Undo. Wanjiku Muya is in the house. Geoffrey Wandeto is in the house. Millie Odhiambo, not in the house. So I'll give priority to those two who are in the house. Let me also see how many of you want to speak to this so that I say how to manage this 1 hour. Oundo, you didn't speak? You are a perennial speaker here. Yes. Okay, we'll, now I can see. We will end this debate at 5:58. Before I give to Wanjiku Muya, I want to acknowledge in the speaker's gallery St. Peter's Mumias Boys High School, Mumias West, Kakamega. On my behalf and on behalf of the House, I welcome the students, their teachers, and those accompanying them to the House of Parliament. Honorable Salasia had approached me to welcome the students, but I don't see him in the house. Thank you. Call out the next order.
Order number 11, motion. Consideration of sessional paper number 3 of 2025 on partial divestiture in Safaricom PLC by the Government of Kenya. Resumption of debate.
Wanjiku Muya.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. And I start to oppose the sale of Safaricom shares, and not just opposing, but because of the following reasons. Number one, Safaricom is a key national economic pillar for this nation, having employed thousands or millions of people informally and formally, transactions of millions, especially the micro entrepreneurship, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, it can only be a bad dream for anyone to think to sell a company of this nature. The way the committee has put the argument, Honorable Speaker, beats every logic, because the main component in their report is saying that they'll be earning the 40 billion upfront, this confirming us from the committee report that in the next 6 years or so, there will be no dividends for the government of Kenya. And that notwithstanding, Honorable Speaker, statistically speaking, we are informed that at 35% ownership, the Kenyan government earns approximately 15 billion as dividends. Considering there is no infrastructure project that you can do in a year or two, it obviously means that then the 15 billion can still be ring-fenced, and the 15 billion can be used for the next 3 years, which will be equal to 45 billion to make any infrastructure that the government may endeavor. Number two, Honorable Speaker, we are not being informed which specific projects that the government intend to do. I believe it could have been itemized that we need the Kenya airport, the airport, we need maybe road A, we need maybe the gas or electricity at cost A, B, C, D, and we are looking for 500 billion or so. That would have informed the Kenyans to choose if we do away with the Safaricom shares from the government ownership, or there is no emergency of the said infrastructure. The emergency that is indicated in this sale, to an extent of confirming that this shall happen by 1st of April, clearly shows that only an emergency can dictate this. Honorable Speaker, further, the government of Kenya, we have not been informed by the government of Kenya through Treasury or this committee that the projects that shall happen after this sale shall raise same revenue as to what the Safaricom dividends or the growth has been happening. Honorable Speaker, further, the dividends are to be paid by the majority.
And please note, Wanjiko, as you go on, that everybody are given an opportunity will speak for 5 minutes.
Thank you,
Yes.
Honorable Speaker. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Well guided. Honorable Speaker, the dividends are to be paid will be going outside our country. This obviously means that the profit that Safaricom has been making is generated by Kenyans, the businessmen and women who wake up very early in the M-Pesa shops, which M-Pesa points are close to 2 million. That means they have already employed like 2 million people. The 2 million are also renting the vibada or the shops. That means again 2 million shops or landlord. And Honorable Speaker, by the word of saying that the Safaricom shares would be sold, or this share ownership of the government will be sold by 1st of April, leaves no doubt that the government is only looking at a temporary solution, which obviously beats the logic that a whole government machinery could be so desperate to look for only 40 billion. Honorable Speaker, the emergency that is indicated on this transaction is also showing us that clearly there is mystery, and in my own opinion, I now conclude that surely the journey to Singapore was meant to be physically a physical journey. Hence, the government is selling everything because there is nothing to live in this country. And the government cannot be fixing problems by selling asset A because tomorrow it will be another asset.
Time is up. Wandeto.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to also contribute to this session of paper number 3 regarding the partial divestiture of Safaricom Limited. And Mr. Speaker, let me from the start say that I have a lot of number of reservations, especially on how this divestiture has been structured, the valuation of the share price that is being offered by the buyer. And Mr. Speaker, right now we are talking about a price earnings ratio of about 9 to 10. That is what has been used to value Safaricom, which I find very, very conservative. Mr. Speaker, in emerging market telcos, especially the one with a fintech component, such as Safaricom, the P multiples that we see are anything between 16 and 18 multiples, and that would have given the Safaricom share, upwards of 40, shillings per share. But that notwithstanding, Mr. Speaker, grandmother wisdom dictates that. Grandmother wisdom, Mr. Speaker, dictates that you subject.
Yes, Ariko, what's your point of order?
Honorable Speaker, the honorable member on the floor is giving misleading information or the violation.
Challenge him.
The presentation from the committee has made a presentation of 5 models that were used to determine the price of the share. So it is not only the price earning ratio. There are 5 methods that were used to value the price of Safaricom shares. Thank you, Chair. Speaker.
Thank you, Speaker. Actually, I don't know, I'm not sure what his point was, but let me just proceed because, like I said, even grandmother wisdom, Mr. Speaker, from even our traditional African culture, when you want to determine the true price of your good, you take it to the market. That is the easiest way, of just knowing how much, you should sell your good. And so the question, Mr. Speaker, here has been, who else did we ask for the price of Safaricom? What was so difficult in putting Safaricom in the open market? And you have bidders saying, I am willing to do 34, another one saying I'm willing to do 29, another one saying I'm willing to do 40. So I do not see why we have this sort of private arrangement, Mr. Speaker, to basically negotiate only with one party, a party that I would consider an insider. Actually, this can be classified as very uncompetitive. I'm not even sure whether this transaction is going to pass through the Anti-Competition Authority, because this is technically insider trading, where the shares are offered to only one party who has a lot of private information. Mr. Speaker, the second concern that I have is that the proceeds of this sale will be deposited to the National Infrastructure Fund. I know we passed the National Infrastructure Fund in this House a week ago. But of course, one of the concerns that came about this fund is that our role, especially the appropriation role of Parliament as far as this money is concerned, has been technically removed. Actually, I heard someone say over the weekend that the proceeds of Safaricom is going to go and build an airport, even before this House has discussed how we would like to use or how we would like to appropriate those proceeds. Mr. Speaker, so since we have only been left with the role of audit as far as the National Infrastructure Fund is concerned, I actually feel that this may be a risky venture where such a colossal amount of money goes into a kitty where only one person or a very small group of people have a say. Mr. Speaker, the committee has raised a number of remedies that it hopes to put in place over the issues that were raised in the public participation, especially safeguarding employees, safeguarding dealers, and so on and so forth. But my worry is, are we going to see the revised share purchase agreement deposited in this House so that we can scrutinize it before the share price goes on? Mr. Speaker, the next one, and I request, because I think my time has all been calculated, the interruption I got. Mr. Speaker, the next one is the dividend. If you know, Safaricom just announced its interim dividend. It is going to announce its final results 31st of March. And then, Mr. Speaker, we are going to have the final dividend paid around August. So since the sale is being concluded on 1st of April, what is the guarantee that the government is going to get the final dividend? Because the government will no longer have 15% of its shares in the register. So, Mr. Speaker, again, I say, either we delay this sale or we ensure that the government stake is at least a guarantee.
Your time is up. Morugara.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for allowing me to also voice my support for this particular motion. It's a sessional paper, number 3 of 2025, and this takes us down to history. What we are witnessing today was in 1965 when we had sessional paper number 10 on African socialism. There were opponents to it on the basis that it was going to create 10 millionaires amongst 10 million paupers. But after passing the paper, we cannot say exactly whether that is what happened, because we actually have more people who have come up because of what was being discussed that particular year. It is important to point out that what we are doing is a partial divestiture, which means it's not the entire of it, and therefore we are not selling Safaricom, properly speaking. It is what we have recommended to go into a sale of shares, so that although we are left with a percentage, there is a percentage that is going to be disposed of. The next issue that arises is, why do we think this is a very important exercise for this country in terms of economics? We must admit, all of us, that there has been inequality in the development of the country, especially the rural areas versus the urban areas. We are of the view, especially those of us from rural areas, that this is the time for us to start equalizing with the urban areas. This money, which is going to go into the National Infrastructure Fund, is actually the money that is going to build roads, not just in the urban areas, roads including those in the Tharaka constituency. I can point out the roads that are earmarked for development, and there is no reason whatsoever why I would oppose this, when I know for sure in the next couple of years, the people of Tharaka will be seeing roads that are tarmacked from these funds. We would not have seen this whatsoever unless we had any other source of money, and that source of money would have included taxation and borrowing. And we are moving away from that because we cannot borrow anymore and we cannot tax Kenyans anymore. It's important to note that nobody is going to lose a job because of what is happening here. We are guaranteeing it as the legislative house that there will be no job losses, and therefore we should actually go into this knowing that it's for the benefit of the people of Kenya and not for any other benefit. This is not the first divestiture that we are doing. It is not the first one we are offering or floating shares. We did this for Kenya Airways a while ago. We did this for Safaricom soon after that. But as we've always been arguing, what happened to this money? What became of it? And allow me to laud the National Infrastructure Fund. There are questions that are being raised about it regarding its governance, but if one reads the act properly, you'll see that there is a set out structure which should not have too many bottlenecks, because the executive must be allowed to run the government, because that is the work of the executive. However, Parliament is there to oversight, and oversight is through audits. That is what we do as a tradition of this house. The next one is we also have the power to summon whoever we want to summon, so that when they come here, they can tell us exactly what they are doing with this money, and if there is any breach of any law, especially the National Infrastructure Fund Act, we are able to mete out a punishment regarding those who are offending it. So this is very important for purposes of development, and therefore we should actually support it. And after that, we now see development rolling out into rural constituencies like Tharaka. I support.
Thank you, Oundo.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Let me from the onset state that government has no business being in business. That has been my mantra all along. Government has got no business being in business. Honorable Speaker, as indeed as my colleagues have said, this is not the first time government is divestituring or is privatizing its asset in whichever reason. Honorable Speaker, the proposed divestiture from Safaricom of a certain portion for government shareholding raises so many questions and so many issues that, honestly speaking, Honorable Speaker, if anybody cared to listen, they would put a halt on this matter until we resolve these gray areas. Honorable Speaker, I want to use the report of the committee. The committee, on paragraph 457, this is what it states. The public expressed general support for the proposed divestiture, recognizes potential to generate resources for national development and infrastructure financing. However, the stakeholders consistently raise critical issues and concerns that must be addressed before the transaction proceeds. These include valuation transparency, timing and fiscal prudence, foreign majority control, national sovereignty, governance of proceeds, equitable allocations, employment protection, data security, and consumer safeguards. Honorable Speaker, unfortunately, in the recommendation of the committee, as they proceed to approve for the divestiture, none of the concerns raised by Kenyans have been adequately addressed or any mitigation measures put in place to ensure that the concerns of the Kenyans are adequately addressed. That leaves the question begging, and what many Kenyans are asking: what is the hurry? What is the urgency? Why? What is it? What's the urgency? Honorable Speaker.
Yeah, yes, Majority Leader.
Honorable Speaker, you know, Honorable Oundo is a very good debater, but he must not use the House to misinform the country. And it's true, the issue he has raised, the issues that were raised by members of the public in their public engagements during public participation. But he has gone on to selectively read the report, because in this report, Honorable Speaker, the issues that he's raising have all been addressed in the report. Not everything can be in the resolutions, because you can't resolve that the share price will be sold at 34 shillings, because it is not the House to set the price. but the committee considered the matter of the share valuation, and it is in this report. Employment protection is among the recommendations in the report. Data security is all in the report, Honorable Speaker. Is therefore, Honorable Speaker, very dishonest of the Honorable Oundo to be propagating issues that are not, claiming that there are issues that have not been addressed, that were raised by the public, yet they have been adequately covered by this report. And I can see the Honorable Ariko nodding in agreement with the Chair of Finance, because, and Honorable Oundo, because he reads, I'm certain he knows they are there.
Yes, Oundo.
Honorable Speaker, I had not even finished. I just read the statement. I had not even finished. So I don't know what's the point of concern. I just read the statement verbatim. It's not my words. It's here. I not finished.
But you went further and said...
Yes, I was proceeding, Honorable Speaker.
Go ahead.
Honorable Speaker, I'm proceeding.
Yes.
Honorable Speaker.
Go ahead.
Honorable Speaker, I want to go to committee report, paragraph 485. And that's where the elephant in the house comes in. On the issue of valuation methodology. Honorable Speaker, my time has been taken up.
I'll give you an extra minute. Go ahead.
The joint committee further noted that alternative disposal methods, including public offering, could have exerted downward pressure on the share price due to increased market supply and market volatility, thereby potentially reducing the value realized by the government. Honorable Speaker, this is speculative. I did not know when the Committee of Parliament becomes a prophet to predict what will happen in the future. When?
Yes, Rico. And when you, members, when you contribute and open yourself to challenge, don't claim that your time has been consumed, because your time includes responsibility for what you say and possible challenges. Yes, Ariko?
Honorable Speaker, looking at the issue of valuations, the Committee of Finance was provided with 5 valuation methods. And all these methods gave a value far below the negotiated price. The negotiated price was 34 shillings. What is there? Honorable Speaker, there are so many ways of disposing government assets. One is private placements. One is asset sale. The other one is IPO. So experts in National Treasury gave their way of selling these shares from expertise.
Point made. Oundo.
Let me conclude, Honorable Speaker, so that we can open up.
Hold your horses. Yes, Majority Leader.
Honorable Speaker, mine is actually on a matter of procedure, because Honorable Oundo now what he's doing is imputing improper motive on the committee. Because he has read what the committee is saying and saying they are being speculative. Yet Honorable Oundo knows that even, leave alone shares, potatoes in a market, if you flood potatoes in a market, naturally, common sense, the price goes down. And that is all that the committee is saying here. That if you obey the laws of demand and supply in economics, the most basic economics you can never learn in school, even in primary school, they learn the law of demand and supply in economics, that if you supply more shares, these are 6 billion shares, if you bring 6 billion shares into the market, open market, the price definitely will go down, Honorable Speaker. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, I want to beg that you rule that Honorable Oundo is out of order to be imputing improper motive on the very diligent 30 members of the Joint Committee that considered this matter. Because this committee has very reputable economists, leave alone those classroom economists. The chair of this committee, the Honorable Kimani Kuria, is a first-class honors student, a fellow FCPA, a fellow of my Chartered Institute of Public Accountants. Honorable Ariko is a serious accountant, leave alone the other street economists that have been speaking here, telling us, lecturing people in small lecture halls.
Oundo, wind up.
Honorable Speaker, I also went to school. I've got a PhD in valuation of financial assets, so there's nothing you can teach me that I do not know. But there being as the matter as it is, Honorable Speaker, we should listen to the concerns of the people of Kenya. We are selling Safaricom, a strategic asset. Yet in the share purchase agreement, I just pray I just pray and hope issues of reserved matters, and they know what the issues of reserved matters are all about.
Your time is up. Sunguya. Sunguya.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I rise strongly to support the adoption of the sessional paper 3.
Dawood, why is your hand up in there? I have just given Sunguya, he has not even uttered a word. Go on, Sunguya.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I rise strongly support the motion of adoption of the sessional paper 3 of the 2025 regarding the spatial divestiture of the government shareholding in Safaricom PLC. The Honorable Speaker, as a member of the Departmental Committee on Finance and National Planning, I had the privilege traversing the country to listen directly to the voices of Kenyans who largely supported the sessional paper in order to ease the debt burden and build our local infrastructure. The Honorable Speaker, just to name the few benefits that the sessional paper will help in unlocking and debt financing for national development. Currently, our nation is grappling with the heavy debt burden that consume a massive portion of our revenues. The Honorable Speaker, the official divestiture present an innovative financing mechanism that will unlock approximately of 204 billion in capital, allows the government to generate substantial revenue to support priority development program without contracting expensive domestic or external commercial debt. Honorable Speaker, I stand to support this motion, that this motion will be helpful to our countries, that I expect a number of roads in my constituency, in Magadi, where only one a company that is working there, and I know it will unlock those issues. Raising a ring fence the proceed for the National Infrastructure Fund. Honorable Speaker, all proceed for this divestiture will strictly ring fence and paid directly into the newly established National Infrastructure Fund. This fund will then be directly explicitly toward commercially viable long-term infrastructure project in critical sectors such as energy, transport, and water. Honorable Speaker, I stand to support. Thank you.
Member for Kitui Rural.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And as a member of our Finance Committee, I support this transaction. Mr. Speaker, these concerns which members are raising, these are concerns which were raised by the public. But when you look at the paper from the Joint Committee, most of those issues have been addressed. Mr. Speaker, at one point, even as an investor, at one time, you have to restructure your investment portfolio. You cannot say, we are not going to sell Safaricom because it's a national asset. Suppose you sell it and invest in other commercially viable projects to make more money. Mr. Speaker, some people are saying that Safaricom is making money. Why can't we sell another government asset apart from Safaricom But Mr. Speaker, if you need money and you have 2 cows, one a fat one and a thin one, which one do you sell? You sell the fat one so that you can raise money, enough money to do whatever you wanted to do. Mr. Speaker, one of the concerns which was raised is who receives the dividends before that fast, because that's the time Safaricom is supposed to declare dividends. Mr. Speaker, the committee has proposed the approval date to be 1st April or a day after, 1st April, after our government gets approval from concerned institution like Capital Market Authority, Competition Authority, and any other government, relevant institution. And Treasury also assured us that the sale of these shares is ex-dividends. Therefore, even if we sell, the government is still going to get the dividends for that 5% of the shareholding. Mr. Speaker, there was also concern of 40 billion upfront of dividends in lieu of future dividends. Mr. Speaker, the concern was if you get this money, we are supposed to forgo dividends for 6 years, and we are going to pay 55 billion shillings, a difference of 15 billion shillings. But Mr. Speaker, when you look at the net present value of that money, the 40 billion shillings now, if you invest now, in 6 years, you are going to get 70 billion shillings. And therefore, the net present value is what we go for. And being an economist, I did my analysis and I realized that it's better to get a shilling today is better than a shilling tomorrow. So it's better to get that 40 billion now, invest now, and because something which you can do, because of inflation, the money, if you can use 40 billion, whatever you can do with the 40 billion now, in 6 years, you may need more than that. Mr. Speaker, the people are concerned about where the money is going, because people are reminding us about the Eurobond, the 2 billion Eurobond money, which up to now, nobody can say what project was undertaken by that money. But thank God, at least we have the National Infrastructure Fund, where the money is going into, and the money is going to be used for commercially viable projects. And that's very good, because we have actually passed that bill recently, and I hope it's going to be assented. Mr. Speaker, the issue of staff was also a big...
Honorable Boni, that bill was ascended to last week.
Oh, then yeah, it was ascended on Monday.
Were you out of the country?
I was invited, but I was in the rural area.
Early this week, rather.
This week, yes.
Yes.
Yes, thank you. Mr. Speaker, the staff issues, because the session paper was proposing that after 3 years, then there may be redundancies, and the committee proposed that no loss of jobs which are going to come from this transaction. Mr. Speaker, there was also concern of the dealers, and this was very concerned, because Safaricom is an infrastructure, but the people who drive Safaricom are the dealers. 12.8 billion people are engaged in Safaricom, and therefore they were concerned about the change of business model, and the committee proposed that the business model should not change should change only after.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to support this motion that supports the consideration of the sessional paper of number 3 of 2025 on partial divestiture in Safaricom PLC. Mr. Speaker, I come from Kiambu, where there were rich men who owned Kiambu County. And one rich man had many children. He owned a lot of estates, a lot of coffee, a lot of tea, a lot of cows, and he refused to liquidate his property, Mr. Speaker, so that he can pay school fees for his children. He used to report into a certain shop every morning, that one specific mzee, who was a friend to my grandfather. And he used to wear plastic shoes, yet he could afford leather, beautiful, upmarket shoes. Mr. Speaker, that old man used to eat mandazi for lunch, yet he could afford to eat nyama choma, roasted meat, Mr. Speaker. And eventually, Mr. Speaker, that old man succumbed and died and left billions and billions of money in their account. Yet, his sons and daughters never had even an opportunity to go to school. Mr. Speaker, that old muzee is the economy of Kenya right now. We are sitting on gold, billions of money in the name of shares in companies. Yet, our young people cannot have a full meal because we are not able to open up economy. Mr. Speaker, the only thing we can do is to open up the economy, release this money to the circulation, release this money to people's businesses, release this money into the bank account so that we can afford to take loans. So, Mr. Speaker, you can only sell a cow that has value. I come from a constituency where we breed cows, and we only sell that very heifer that is hybrid, that has value. That is why we have to make sure that we liquidate Safaricom, our best company, the hybrid company that we have, best performing company, Mr. Speaker, so that we can reap from the benefits of having a good company and help our young people recover from the extremes of bad economy that has been happening. So, Mr. Speaker, I am very excited about this because I come from a constituency where people wear gumboots every day because we have no tarmac. It is time to unlock our wealth from so-called Safaricom shares so that we can be able to build our roads, so that we can allow my farmers to also enjoy a kilometer of tarmac when they are going to their coffee factories and their tea factories. So, Mr. Speaker, I'm looking forward for this money to be released so that it can be put into the infrastructure fund, the bill that was already assented by the president, so that we can now be able to open up the economy. I look forward to that very day, Mr. Speaker, where we shall be able to get this money, accessing this money, so that we can stir the economy of this country. Mr. Speaker, I have listened to a lot of people, even online, people saying, oh, where will the agents of Safaricom go? What will the staff that were working in Safaricom do? Mr. Speaker, I adopt this report very positively this afternoon because I can be assured through this report and I can see a confirmation that all the agents that were working under Safaricom, all the members of staff that have been working under Safaricom PLC are going to be taken care of. Mr. Speaker, they're not only going to be taken care of, they're even going to be paid better. And everybody wants to be paid better. Even members in this house want to be paid better. So I support this so that we can improve the economy of this country and make sure that the young people of Kenya can access to more funds in terms of loans so that people of Kenya can enjoy the infrastructure fund that is going to open up roads and railways and airports in this country. I can't wait for the day, one of these very good days, when my roads are going to be done, put tarmac, because the infrastructure fund is going to be accessible. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I support 100%.
Thank you, Mshomba. Gogoyo. Honorable members, as Ngogoyo comes on the floor, allow me to acknowledge both in the public and speakers gallery, students from Kirimankari School from Ingambangombe, Tharaka Nithi. On my behalf and on behalf of the House, we welcome the students, their teachers, and those accompanying them to the House of Parliament. Gogoyo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to oppose the motion, consideration of the session of paper number 3 of 2025 on the partial diversification of Safaricom PLC by the government of Kenya. Mr. Speaker, I will use even less time than what you have allocated as Mr. Speaker, and I just have about 3 issues to raise. Number one, Mr. Speaker, we oppose because we disagree with the timing of diversifying this company. It is suspect. The timing is suspect. Why do you want to do it at this particular time? Mr. Speaker, this asset, or this company, Mr. Speaker, and the shareholding of this company, which is owned by the public, has been owned in trust. And Mr. Speaker, you cannot just wake up and say we want to diversify because we have the infrastructure fund and therefore we want to use the resources here and put them there. It is already suspect. Why are you doing it now? Timing, Mr. Speaker. Number two, Mr. Speaker, the issue of when you diversify, the buyer, which is Vodacom, will have 55%. The Companies Act any company is led by the majority. Some of the issues that we are raising here, they will be able to take care of our employees. The management structures will change. The management, the board, immediately, when they have 55%, they will have the larger percentage in the board. You cannot impute to them that this is what you're going to do. The Registrar of Companies has the Companies Act provides that shareholders shall be nominated by a certain formula. Having 55%, Vodacom will have the largest shareholding. Mr. Speaker, Vodacom is not a very good company. It did not take Tanzania the right way. In South Africa, they have been one of the worst. Mr. Speaker, in consideration of this diversification, one of the factors that did not come in, one of the factors that was not considered, and I wish the chair would listen to me specifically on this one, is that Safaricom had invested in Ethiopia, and the maturity of the investment in Ethiopia, which was large, was supposed to mature this year. In pricing, Mr. Speaker, they did not consider that we had an investment, a large investment, which was done 3 years ago and is supposed to mature later this year around September. Mr. Speaker, when you're doing pricing, you consider that you had invested in a large market in Ethiopia. Safaricom is big in Ethiopia. That consideration was not done when you're doing the pricing, and it has not been mentioned anywhere in the committee report that we had a large investment in Ethiopia. Mr. Speaker, as I conclude, there are many arguments about the formula, this, that. Mr. Speaker, you do not need to be a first class or to have known all those formulas. You just need to use common sense. Common sense is, if it is a premium price, it had to go beyond what we have as 34. If it is premium, if you are taking it to the international market,
Yes,
that it
Kimani,
would not have.
There's a point of order, Ngogoyo. Yes, Kimani?
So, Honorable Speaker, I think it's completely out of order for, I didn't want to interject my younger brother, the Honorable Ngogoyo, and especially because he's joining our team very soon.
You look younger than him.
Especially because he's joining our team very soon. But it should be completely out of order for him to misinform this House about the valuation models used and purport to use his own model that is futuristic. And I challenged my other brother yesterday, and I challenge you, Honorable Ngogoyo. If you think that the valuation models that are being used on these already accredited formulas globally, come up with your formula. Tell us, according to the formula by Honorable Ngogoyo, the share price should be 40 shillings. Patent it. Tell us what the formula is. Defend it in academic journals. Then we'll support you. But where, Honorable Speaker, people are coming up with their own formulae without any academic accreditation, then that is the biggest witch hunt. And that's the biggest thuggery that you can ever have. So I do not want Honorable Ngogoyo.
Point made, Ngogoyo.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Speaker. I refuse to go the direction he wants me to take. But let me say that the investment in Ethiopia by Safaricom was not considered.
Give him 1 minute. I'll give you 1 minute.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Was not considered during this pricing. Mr. Speaker, this is a road deal for Kenya. This will go down in history as one of the worst deals for Safaricom. It has no impact to the economy. The argument that this money will go to the infrastructure fund and it will later be used for a project in Githunguri, that is even thinking very, it's thinking very hogwash, because
there's another point of order.
Mr. Speaker, now that the Honorable Ngogoyo has mentioned me, I just wanted to call him out of order because he should actually tell us the value of investment that he's talking about in Ethiopia. How many billions, how many Kenya shillings? Exactly. So we want to know, because you are keeping on telling us there is value of investment in Ethiopia, which was done by the same Safaricom. How much was it? Can you tell us?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. For me to conclude my point, let me say that, Mr. Speaker, you cannot say that the money gotten from Safaricom will go to the infrastructure fund and therefore the roads in Githunguri will be made. That is pedestrian thinking. The National Infrastructure Fund does not have even the board, does not have the proposals. There's nothing coming to Githongori like you're thinking. That is just very pedestrian.
Order, Otongo, you are being harsh to your colleague for nothing. You know, she has the right to imagine and think futuristically. Yes. KJ, you have 3 minutes because I want to spare 7 minutes each for your leaders.
Mr. Speaker, I truly thank you. And I do stand as a chairman of a committee that is superintending over telecommunications in this country. And Mr. Speaker, it had been said here by the leader of majority that this generation has—
Take 2 minutes, I want to share your time with somebody.
Yes, our generation has a job to do. And this job is not only for the people who are living today. That if we go in the way that this committee is recommending in its report, first, Mr. Speaker, we shall be unlocking capital for national development. For a country that is facing very tight space for development monies to be accrued, Mr. Speaker, and the people who are against this are talking as if we are selling Safaricom. But Mr. Speaker, what we are doing is selling a few shares of Safaricom to raise money to fill the gaps that we have been having for a government that has been facing very tight fiscal space and some rising debt servicing costs, Mr. Speaker. Secondly, Mr. Speaker, we are going to be improving market liquidity and broadening ownership of Safaricom, Mr. Speaker.
Kimani, KJ, do you want information?
I would be very glad to be informed by the chairperson.
Honorable Speaker, I love the contribution by my elder brother, the Honorable KJ, but I want to inform him about Article 206. Because, Honorable Speaker, this discussion is not just being done in this House. It is being followed by Kenyans across all social media networks. And one of the things that I've realized that there is a deliberate miscommunication and disinformation is, why is this fund not being a subject of approval by controller of budget? And Honorable Speaker, Article 206 is very clear that any withdrawals must be approved by COB apart from funds that are created by an act of parliament. Just like the Affordable Housing Fund, just like now these are the fund that is built purposely by an act of parliament called the National Infrastructure Fund. That is the only reason why this fund is not subject to approval by COB. It's not because we fear COB. In any case, I think the Auditor General has a bigger mandate. And the Auditor General has a mandate in auditing this fund. So I wanted to inform the honorable member so that we put it on record. Atuogopi COB, tunasema. This fund must be approved by is being audited by Auditor General, and the only reason why it's not being subject to approval by COB is because of Article 206 of our Constitution. Thank you, Honorable.
Yes, KJ.
And Mr. Speaker, why I would agree to be informed is because the gentleman speaking is a first-class honors holder in finance, Mr. Speaker, and what he says is in great support of what I am saying, Mr. Speaker. Secondly, Mr. Speaker, it is, to my mind, a good move to be moving in this direction, Mr. Speaker, so that we are able to improve the market liquidity and broaden the ownership of Safaricom, Mr. Speaker. And with that, we shall also be strengthening the corporate governance and the commercial discipline, Mr. Speaker, whereby Safaricom now is subject to greater scrutiny, Mr. Speaker, going forward. And so, Mr. Speaker, for the few minutes that you have given me, I'd like to say that I'm raising a case for the partial divestiture, Mr. Speaker, so that it rests on these very critical 3 pillars, Mr. Speaker. One, being able to raise badly needed development capital, Mr. Speaker. Secondly, we are able to deepen our capital markets, Mr.
Dawood, I'll give you a minute. Unfortunately, our time is running out.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I agree with some of my colleagues. I stand to support the divestiture of Safaricom, that the government should not be in business of business. In the first place, a lot of people have called Safaricom the national treasure. It is a national treasure not because the government is running it, but it is run privately. The divestiture of Safaricom has not started today. It has started a long time ago. The government owns only 35%. If this House approves, it will reduce by 15%. The issue of dividend, a lot of people have talked about dividend. Dividend will be declared on the 31st of March. And if this sale goes through on 1st of April, the government as a shareholder will get all the dividend that is due for it for the 35%. The other thing is that the money, it was ably stated, the money going to the National Infrastructure Fund is exempted from the COB because of Article 206. We have done our job as a National Assembly and Parliament. We have passed the act, it has been assented to, and that money will be in the National Infrastructure Fund, and the fund is self-explanatory. Today we are talking about the divestiture of Safaricom, not the fund.
Time up. Minority Leader, you have 7 minutes.
Speaker, even less. Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. Mr. Speaker, I stand to support the motion on the divestiture of Safaricom, divestiture, Mr. Speaker, of Safaricom. Mr. Speaker, let us be simple to Kenyans. Mr. Speaker, we said as a country that we don't want to borrow more. We have again said as a country that we don't want any more taxes. And you remember the way high taxes brought issues to this country 2 years ago. So, Mr. Speaker, and the country must develop. People are crying of bad roads, bad airport, bad infrastructure. Mr. Speaker, someone somewhere had to think out of the box so that he can raise money, so that he can develop the country, Mr. Speaker, without taxing the citizens and without taking more debt, Mr. Speaker. That's how I view this matter, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, if you want to raise money in the country, you have the only alternatives you have is to tax people more or to borrow more. Because the revenues that you raise locally cannot be enough to do the kind of development that you want to do. So, Mr. Speaker, if Kenyans want this country to develop, this is one of the initiatives that all of us must support, both as leaders and as citizens, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Safaricom, you know, Kenyans, when they want to politicize anything, or when oppositionists, the way I used to be, want to politicize something, Mr. Speaker, first you call that thing strategic. Me, I don't know what is strategic about Safaricom. Safaricom is like any other telco, like Telecom, like Airtel. You know, some countries have even 11, 12 telco companies, Mr. Speaker. It's only here that people don't have money to start a new one. And I suspect maybe in the years to come, the majority leader might start one. Mr. Speaker, there's nothing strategic about it. This is a company like any other company that's owned by the government, Mr. Speaker. Secondly, Mr. Speaker, if you don't sell why do you create assets of high value? You do it so that later you can leverage on them and make money and get money from them so that you can develop or start another one. So, Mr. Speaker, they're saying now, we are selling our strategic asset, we are selling this, every item that this, even if today you want to sell a...
If you read a book called The Mayor of Casterbridge.
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
By Thomas Hardy.
Yes.
He says everything is for sale as long as the price is right.
Correct,
and he proceeded to auction his wife.
And Mr. Speaker, I want to remind you something. In the year 2004,
and that mayor proceeded to auction his wife in a party.
Mr. Speaker, and I want to remind you something. When I came to see you in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and I was the mayor of Migori, when I entered your door, you called me the mayor of Casterbridge.
Casterbridge.
So, yes, that's what you called me.
Yes.
So I can now today I can remember why you have called me. I've not auctioned anyone. Anyway, Mr. Speaker, not to lose my thought process, Mr. Speaker, I think Kenyans should know that what's happening in this divestiture of Safaricom is for the good of the country. Mr. Speaker, you are raising 244 billion shillings in this divestiture. You leverage 10 times, you get 2.5 trillion shillings today, so that you invest it in infrastructure. Then waiting for another 15 years to make that kind of money, Mr. Speaker. What common sense? Common sense tells you. And then people are saying that this country, this company is going into the hands of foreign people. Mr. Speaker, so long as you're operating business in Kenya, whether it is foreign owned or locally owned, the fact of the matter is regulatory authority belongs to the government, Mr. Speaker. So, and regulatory powers are done in this House and given to the executive to exercise. Mr. Speaker, so long as the government has the regulatory authority, they can determine how that business is run, whether it is foreign owned or locally owned. The most important thing for a government is to have the regulatory authority, not to own business. Government has no business of owning any business. They cannot run any business. All government-owned businesses are run down. That's why this Safaricom was sold to foreigners, to Vodafone, was listed in the year 2010 or somewhere, I can't remember the year. In the year 2000 when it was started, then later there was an IPO, which raised only 50 billion. And today we are raising 244 billion shillings. So, Mr. Speaker, all the issues being raised, what is going to happen to the staff? What is going to happen to the agents? Who told you that Safaricom, when the divestiture happened, who told you that Safaricom will not need agents? Who told you that Safaricom will not need staff? Who told you that Safaricom will not still operate the way it's operating? That's a pedestrian. Who told you? Why will the running of the business change just because the ownership has changed? So I think that's a pedestrian way of making Kenyans think that their cow has been sold cheaply or in a manner that is not right. Mr. Speaker, I think all mature assets must be sold and new ones must be created. That is how the world is run. Look at the developed countries. Are they still running matatus and buses like the way we want to run here in Kenya? Government wants to run small things. Government must run big things. Government must build airports. Government must build expressways. Government must build big dams that have huge electricity supply. The government must build technopolises. Government must run metropolises. Not government should not run a telephone booth and a telephone company, Mr. Speaker, that any other Kenyan can run, Mr. Speaker. Now, Shad Merali, you started Kensel. Now you're competing with Shad as a government. Get out of those things. Run big things as a government. And that is why now we have the National Infrastructure Fund. That's why I want to end my argument. Mr. Speaker, look at developed countries that have gone far way ahead of us. They all have the National Infrastructure Fund. That is where we are going. Look at where the country is being taken to. Don't be stuck. Change, I know, is difficult. Don't be stuck there. Don't be stuck in villages like Omunyoro. Come to cities. Come to cities, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the National Infrastructure Fund in the next 5 years is going to transform this country. And I've seen it being politicized. People saying that, oh, this is fund for someone. How is it a fund for someone? We have many funds, including the national government.
Give him a minute.
How can it be a fund for someone? There are millions, there are how many funds that we have created as parliament? Why are they not for someone's fund and this one is someone's fund? This fund is subject to Auditor General's processes, including the Women Fund, and this fund is subject to all regulatory authorities. It's subject to auditing. The control of budget, Mr. Speaker, it does not authorize withdrawals from funds. It is in the Constitution, the way the finance chair has explained to us, Article 206. So, Mr. Speaker, it is either we all board this bus going to Canaan through Singapore, or you remain in Wamunyoro. The choice is yours. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Indulge me. Joseph Munyoro has been crying that he waited for 3 hours yesterday. I'll give him 2 minutes before you take your 7 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I was here the whole night with the majority leaders, and I stand ab initio to oppose this divestiture of the Safaricom shares. First is because I think a lot of work has gone into defining the pricing. We've been discussing the price earning ratios. Ariko is talking about the 5 models. But I think one of the problems that was there is, first of all, is that Treasury sourced KCB to advise on the pricing. And I think a lot of those problems would have been sorted if there were many competitors who are giving a price, so that we are all sure that the pricing, the models that they used were coming to the right price, or the shares are undervalued. A lot of the concerns I have already been mentioned, but one of them is from the report that I've seen, because I used to be in the finance committee, and I think majority realized my services are better there in the arid and semi-arid areas. But one of the things that I think on the report is the public participation happened in 20 out of 47 counties. I need clarity, because in the Delegated Legislation Committee, we still have a problem with what constitutes public participation and what does not. 2, the recommendation by the committee, that is paragraph 502, that they'll be able to advise the new owners on how they'll proceed and run their businesses. We know that is a suggestion. Because even shareholders, if 75% of shareholders decide that they'll call for a special general meeting and even change the articles of association, memorandum of association, anyone who's done accounts knows that's what will happen. So we can't guarantee dealers and the people who are working with Safaricom that their jobs are secure, their businesses are secure, or their sources of income. And that's why I'm opposing it, is because if you look at the, sorry?
There's a point of order, Munyoro.
Honorable Speaker, the House is being misled that the committee undertook public participation in only 20 counties. I'm a member of the committee, and the report is clear. We went to 30 counties, and I think that should be withdrawn and corrected, because it is a very serious matter.
As your Speaker,
yes,
the most widely public participated business of this House was, number 1, the impeachment of the former DP. Number 2, the bill on NGCDF, the intended constitutional bill. Yes. And number 3, this motion.
Mr. Speaker, while I agree that is, I was just referring to the summary that they've shared with us. I counted the counties, because from the list that they shared, this is from the committee. So if that's what happened, they need to correct that from what they shared with us.
Order, Munyoro, hold on. Yes, Rachel?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for indulging me. You have been very kind to the Honorable Amunyoro.
He's not Amunyoro, he's Munyoro.
I'm so sorry, Honorable Speaker. But I would like to ask, is it in order for him not to be serious, to look at this report? Because it is very clear that the committee went to 30 counties. How can he say it is 20 counties, Honorable Speaker? It means that he never looked at the report and is trying to make a political point. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Speaker, you know, I speak with facts. There is a summary that Ariko had here and we were counting. The one that he shared with us, we had it last night. So, and if it's not, anyway, let's proceed. I wanted to say that one of the challenges we have and the concerns that many Kenyans have is just the pricing. And that has not been clarified. That has not been sold to people so that we know for sure that we got the best price. Because Safaricom is our prized asset. And if it goes at the price that we'll feel shortchanged, we have a right to complain and say, maybe this thing needs to.
Your time is up. At least I have given you a say. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I didn't want to interrupt my younger brother, Munyoro, but he said that the Delegated Legislation Committee is still grappling with the question of what is adequate public participation. May I tell Honorable Munyoro, the Supreme Court of Kenya had a ruling that settled that question of what is adequate public participation. And therefore, you don't need to even debate it in your Delegated Legislation Committee. But Honorable Speaker, and we are in the process of doing a bill which will be coming here to actually define public participation in line with that Supreme Court ruling. Honorable Speaker, I rise to support this, this motion for the partial divestiture of Safaricom, of the government of Kenya in Safaricom PLC. Honorable Speaker, I've sat here since this debate began and I've listened to many members and the issues they have raised. And top among those issues is a question of share valuation. Honorable Speaker, I have listened to, including the last speaker, the Honorable Bunyoro. They say they are not settled on share valuation, but none of these people who have spoken have given us an alternative method of valuing the Safaricom share that gives us a different price, Honorable Speaker. I've heard many of them say, oh, you single-sourced KCB as a transaction advisor. I don't know who told them it was single-sourced, because the report does not say that. And what we are debating here is this report. Whichever way KCB Capital was sourced to be the transaction advisors, I was wishing any of these people who have, fortunately there are less than 7 members out of 349 members who have stood in their place to oppose this partial divestiture. And none of the 7 members who have opposed has detailed to us that this share has been undervalued, overvalued, because we have this alternative valuation model, because share valuation models are things that we learned in school, including Honorable Munyoro. And he knows, Honorable Munyoro, whether it is the income-based or the market-based share valuation models, you and the other 6 people who have stood here to oppose should have told us from the market valuation approach. And it is detailed for you in this report, a very detailed report done by the committee. And they tell us from the market valuation approaches, with EBITDA, they had a low of 22.32 shillings and a high of 33.5 and an average of 26.19. Under the PE multiples approach, they had a low of 10.62 and a high of 25 shillings. And I hear many of them have pegged themselves on the question of PE. And you know, Honorable Munyoro, being honest, that PE has its own limitations, and you can never use the PE ratio alone, because it can be skewed by simple things as one-time costs. For instance, the one-time cost of the investment by Safaricom in Ethiopia can skew the PE ratio for Safaricom. And you know that. High debt in an organization, I don't know the indebtedness of Safaricom, but high debt possibly can skew the PE ratios of a company. And Honorable Munyoro and the many others, except those who are intellectual conmen and masters of political deceit, know this. And therefore, Honorable Speaker, all these models, the valuation, the income-based valuation models, the discounted cash flow approach gave a valuation of 18.51. The discounted dividend model gave a valuation of 23.61 shillings. The volume-weighted average of that share, the volume-weighted average is the market value that value was trading at, as at the time the sessional paper was brought to this house, was at 27 shillings and 50 cents. Common sense again, Honorable Speaker. You don't need to have attended any economics or accounting class. Will tell you the law of demand and supply. Even the children who are seated in the public and speakers gallery will tell you that there is something in economics called simple law of demand and supply. If we flooded the 6 billion shares that were on offer, what Vodafone is buying into the market, naturally the market price would have gone down. Why, again, Honorable Speaker, the other thing I've had members raise is why Vodacom? Why didn't you go for other suitors? There was Airtel, there was Telcom. Why Vodafone? They are a proven partner with Safaricom. They are already in the company. And I had somebody say, oh, this is insider trading. And I dared, Honorable Speaker, ask that member who was speaking about insider trading. Insider trading is when you sit as a chair of a committee in this house, for instance, Kimani Kuria, as chair of finance, or if you sit as a chair of the Budget and Appropriations Committee, and you use information that has come under your purview as a public officer to use that information to go to the market and buy shares and make a huge profit. That is what some of us have done, Honorable Speaker, and I dare say, because the person who was saying, oh, because the CFO in Safaricom has been seconded to that company by Vodacom, this is insider trading. Insider trading is when you used your position as the chair of the Budget and Appropriations Committee to go and trade in shares of one energy company and make huge profits. That is what is insider trading.
In law, it's called unjust enrichment.
Yes. insider trading is unjust enrichment.
Yes.
And those people who...
It's actually a criminal offense.
It's a criminal offense. And those people who are lecturing us here, some of them are people who have been involved in insider trading, especially in KPLC shares. These are facts, Honorable Speaker. Facts of life. And we will name them and shame them, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, what is the other issue that has been raised? Concerns by Kenyans, have they been adequately addressed by the committee? They have all adequately been addressed. Whether it is a question of jobs by Kenyans, in the report it is adequately addressed. Whether it is a question of the shared prosperity business model that Honorable Munyoro was speaking about. The committee, Honorable Speaker, if Munyoro cared to just read part 4, that preservation of the existing business model with Safaricom PLC dealers, agents, and other business partners, that the Cabinet Treasury, CS, shall ensure within 10 years of the divestiture, there shall be no material change to the current shared prosperity business model in Safaricom PLC. That caters for our agents, that caters for dealers, distributors who work with Safaricom, and that is catered for. This is why, Honorable Speaker, this additional resolution. This is why, Honorable Speaker, these additional resolutions were even published in the order paper, because they are conditions precedent to the approval. And if the CS National Treasury, Honorable Munyoro, does not ensure this happens, we as members of Parliament oversighting the National Treasury, we will be here to answer to us, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, the other issue that was raised was by Honorable Wandeto today was dividends guaranteed. Honorable Speaker, if only Honorable Wandeto had cared to read page 33 on dividends that are being paid in advance, that question has been answered. If you only care to read the resolutions of what we are passing, again, the effective date of 1st April, there is a reason behind dividends for this year. But we're also getting an additional 40 billion shillings in advance dividends. These dividends, Honorable Munyoro, because you are an accountant, and I'm addressing you because you are an honest gentleman, that the National Treasury noted that GOK is receiving 40 billion today and repaying 55 billion in 6 years. That implies this is a funding of at 5.6%. If I borrow from the words of Honorable Junet, surely, where are you going to get 40 billion shillings at 5.6% today, other than in a deal like this? Honorable Speaker, allow me to say this in conclusion. These people that you see oppose this divestiture in the House and outside are pained. And they are pained by only one thing. Only one thing, Honorable Speaker, that if this divestiture succeeds, we get the 240 billion shillings, just like the IPO in Kenya Pipeline succeeded with 106 billion plus into the National Infrastructure Fund. These people will have nothing else to tell the people of Kenya. The political deceit, the intellectual conmanship that some of you have engaged in the recent past is coming to an end very soon. The end is nigh. I want to beg that we support this partial divestiture because it is good for Kenya, it is good for our economy. Honorable Kaluma can inform me, he's very well schooled.
Yeah, thank you, Speaker. Speaker, on the question as to why Vodacom, saving that these shares are listed at NSE, in company law, where you have a majority shareholder, and Vodacom currently is at 40%, our government is at 35%, the other individuals are at 25%, meaning Vodacom is majority shareholder. If these were not listed shares, Vodacom ordinarily under the Companies Act is required to be given preference in their sale by any internal shareholder.
In preferential and preemptive, they may even have preemptive rights to buy these shares. But Honorable Speaker, let me conclude by just adding to what Honorable Kaluma said. If they cared to read this report, this very detailed report, page 115, clause 485, the committee had this to say on that issue, that in evaluating the rationale for selecting Vodacom Group, the Joint Committee recognized that negotiating with an existing strategic shareholder minimizes execution risk, preserves market confidence, and avoids potential governance instability that may arise from introducing a new controlling or influential shareholder. Vodacom in this deal was the best partner to work with. I beg to submit and support this divestiture and ask all of us when the time comes, let us approve it with no reservations.
Honorable members, I have been requested by the mover of the motion, the Honorable Kimani, that he has rushed to a very urgent appointment, and he requests that we stay the matter for reply. And that being the case, and you're going on recess today, Majority Leader will place the matter before the House Business Committee on the 1st of April, when we resume. Are we resuming on 31st or 1st? On 31st of this month. Then we will allocate him time to reply. He also indicated that he has received a lot of complex contributions, and he wants to respond to as many of them as he possibly can. I've acceded to that. Next order.
Order number 12, Committee of the Whole House.
Hold there first. Before we go to that, allow me, take your seats first. Allow me to acknowledge there is a group of visitors in the public gallery called Classical Conversation Community from Dagoretti in Nairobi County in the public gallery. I welcome them to the House of Parliament. KJ, we don't have time to allow you to, that your constituents. 30 seconds.
Mr. Speaker, you're a philosopher and you know the place for the artists in the community. I take this opportunity to welcome this group to the House of Parliament where discussions are done. And Mr. Speaker, in a wholesome community, the place of the artist is reserved, Mr. Speaker, and I so want to welcome this group to the House of Parliament where decisions in this country are made for the welfare of society and the just government of the people. I welcome you to follow the proceedings of the House, and I myself was an artist, but not by training, Mr. Speaker. It was a hobby, and most of the people in Kenya got to know me because of the art. Many do not even know what my profession is. Many think that I was trained as an artist, but Mr. Speaker, that was a hobby. To the artists, welcome to the House of Parliament. This is where decisions in this country are made. Karibuni sana.
Thank you. All rise. We'll go into committee at order number 12, which has been called out.
Honourable members, those who wish to participate in this Committee of the Whole House, you may take your seats. We are in the Committee of the Whole House, in consideration of the Tea Amendment Bill, Senate Bill number 1 of 2023.
Clause 3.
I propose the question that Clause 3 be part of the bill. Chairman? May I please confirm whether the Honorable Chair for Agriculture?
Yes.
Oh, you are here?
Yes, Chair.
You may proceed.
I beg to propose that Clause 3 be amended as proposed in the order paper. Justification is the registration of commercial tea nursery is a function of the county government under Article 38(1) of the Act. And number 2B, registration of commercial green leaf transporters is provided for under S74, Article 2B.
Thank you. So I propose the question that clause 3 be amended as proposed by the Honorable Brighton Yegon. Yes?
Chair, it is true that registration of the service providers are under the purview of the county governments, Madam Chair. But there is only one problem when it comes to registration of transporters and the levies that they charge on the citizenry in general. You may realize that those levies are different according to counties. So for instance, I'm moving my tea from Bomet to Kericho. You realize that the county government charges a different sum in Bomet, and Kericho also has its own fair share of charges, Madam Chair. So I do not know how we can marry the charges to cut across so that the transporters are not taken advantage of by the county governments, Madam Chair.
Chair, would you like to comment on that? I'm told that you are Vice Chair of Agriculture and you are also the mover. So would you like to comment on that, or I give another chance to other people, other honorable members? Chair?
Yes, Chair, there is no proposal to amendment of the levy, just registration.
Only registration?
Yeah.
The Honorable Kihungi, member for Kangema.
Chair. No, I don't have any on that.
You do not have any interest in this?
Yeah.
Okay, those who are interested in this, please, can you hit the intervention button? The Honorable member for Geshogo, Geshimo Gethenji.
Chair, I do agree with the amendments that the nurseries, because they are mostly localized, they ought to be registered by the county governments. So they need not to fall under the board at the national level. Then, Honorable Chair, because this is not about licensing transporters, it's just registering, it doesn't harm if that function rests with the county government. So, Honorable Chair, I support.
Thank you. I now put the question that clause 3 be amended as proposed by the chair. Will as many as that opinion say aye? Will as many as have a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I now put the question that clause 3 as amended be part of the bill. Will as many as have that opinion say aye? Will as many as have a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clauses 4 and 5.
I propose the question that clauses 4 and 5 be part of the bill. I now put the question that clauses 4 and 5 be part of the bill. Will as many as have that opinion say aye? Will as many as have a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 6.
I propose the question that clause 6 be part of the bill. Chair, mover?
Yes, clause 6 of the bill be amended as proposed in the order paper. Justification is the current system of paying the growers work well, and the proposed mode might be impracticable to implement.
Thank you. I propose the question that clause 6 be amended as proposed by the Honorable Brighton Yegon. What is out of order, Honorable Kaluma?
Chair, could this be explained by the mover in better detail? I'm struggling to hear the impact. You know, in as much as we are just deleting and substituting words, what is the impact on what is the existing law?
Mover, please. Are you able to tell us what the implication of that deletion?
Sorry, Chair.
I would like the chair,
Sorry, Chair.
then I come to you.
Sorry, Chair. The justification is to allow the constitution of the company boards be governed by the memoranda and articles of association and the Companies Act. And to clarify, number B of that is to clarify that the replacement of board members of the limited factory is done by the factory board and not the tea board of Kenya.
Honorable Kaluma?
It's more confusing than before. We can proceed.
Let me go to the Honorable Peter Kihungi, member for Kangema.
Thank you, Chair. According to me, the amendment in clause 6 is amending the amendment of Section 22 of Cap 343, which says the Board of Directors of Tea Factory Limited Company shall be a maximum of 5. That's what I'm understanding is being deleted. And Chair, I'm opposed to that because now we need to control the numbers in these boards to save our farmers. Therefore, for me, it was not in the original Senate bill. I don't know how it came in. And as a parliament also, we need to be careful to save. And as we make registrations, also make sure we safeguard the interests of our farmers, because if we open it, if it will be the person who will be judged by farmers that we open it to go to 10 or to whatever number, and the farmers are the one who will suffer. I feel, Chair, is not convincing enough as a parliament that we are the one who should amend that section.
So this means minimum of 5, no indication of a maximum. Is that what this means, Chairman? It's open. Mover, is it open?
We are depending on the Companies Act, Chair.
Okay, you are guided by the Companies Act?
Yes.
Oh. Yeah. But you know, when I don't see your cards, the Honorable Member for Seme?
It's me, Nyando.
It's the member for Nyando.
Yes.
You may proceed.
Madam Chair, I think there are twin issues here. The first issue relates to who then appoints the board members. And we have moved it from the Kenya Tea Board, which is an apex body sitting in Nairobi, to the factories board, because these farmers know each other. The factories know each other. The second issue now relates to the maximum or minimum number of board members. Firstly, it is common law that it has to be an odd number. And the mwongozo, which is a guideline, dictates that it has to be a minimum of 5 and a maximum of 9. And they have taken the bare minimum, which is 5. I do not think there is anything out of the ordinary on this, Madam Chair. And therefore, I support that we adopt it as is.
Honorable Gishimo?
Chair, this amendment proposed by the committee seeks to delete subsection 1 of section 22 of the Act, which says the board of directors of the Tea Factory Limited Company shall be a maximum of 5 members. That leaves the factories open and without any indication as to how many board members should be in that factory. And yeah, that's why I'm saying I'm opposed to that, because we should. This is not an ordinary company where I just choose who becomes a board member. These are factories owned by the farmers, and we must indicate the number of directors that ought to serve in that company, and it ought to be uniform in the entire country.
So, honorable members, I'll go ahead now to put the question. The member for, this is the member for Juja. No, it's not Juja. Member for Gatundu North? Gatundu South?
Yes.
You guys, honorable members, today you didn't bring your card.
It's okay.
You may proceed.
Chair, it is important, first of all, to understand the architecture of our tea sector. First, we have 71 factories that are owned by small-scale holders. And we have another 71 factories that are owned by private members. So if Honorable Kaluma decides to open a tea factory and he has an estate, and it is him and myself and another 10 people, you cannot stop us from being directors of that company, because these are individual companies that are privately owned and they are managed by memorandum and articles of association. So this actual issue is a member of the realm, is in the realm of the Companies Act of 2015 and not actually the tea sector, because the authors of the previous act were only looking at companies that are run by KTDA, the small scale holder, and it was in the public interest. But these companies have since been created and they are run, they have AGMs, and in the AGMs they decide what is going to happen in their company secretary. So what we are amending and what we're proposing with it is to say that we leave it to be governed by the Companies Act of 2015. Thank you, Chair.
Honorable Munyoro.
Thank you, Chair. I think even listening to the Honorable Member for Gatundu South Kakombe, I'm still opposed because we represent the small-scale farmers. And for us, our worry is that farmers will be there and someone will come and decide that they will put 20 members or whatever number. That cost is borne by farmers. So how do we protect them? Because I think the reason we had a maximum of 5 is to protect the farmer from the number of people who can be there.
Okay, now I now put the question. I now put the question, which is at clause 6. Is that the chair?
Yes. I wanted to...
I cannot ignore the voice of the chair. Please proceed.
You know...
You are representing the chair and you are the mover.
I'm the mover.
So please proceed.
These smallholder tea factories are owned by farmers. And they are themselves who decide how many board members should represent them. And that is why they have a memorandum and articles of association. And they are also guided by the Companies Act.
Well, I'll still go ahead now and put the question. I put the question, which is that clause 6 be amended as proposed by the Honorable Brighton Yegon. Will as many as have that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as have a contrary opinion say nay? Nay. The nays have it. I now put the question that clause 6 as amended be part of the bill. Will as many as have that opinion say aye? Will as many as have a contrary opinion say nay? The nays have it.
Clause 7.
I propose the question that clause 7 be part of the bill. Mover, the Honorable Brighton Yegon.
Clause 7 of the bill be amended as proposed in the order paper. Justification is the notification to the board of any intended sale is important to ensure that the interest of the growers is well taken care of. However, since such a transfer of sale is governed by the laws, it might not be possible to know with certainty when the transfer of sale will take effect. Hence, a notification 3 months before the commencement is more reasonable.
I propose the question that clause 7 be amended as proposed by the Honorable Brighton Yegon. The Honorable Kaluma.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Chair, this provision as a whole, unless amended further, would be inconsistent with Article 40 of the Constitution, which is the right to property. Honorable Chair, when you have right to property, as in this case, you have the right to use, you have the right to dispose of, you have the right to abuse without limitation. This proposed provision, even if it is an amended on the previous one, is saying a large-scale tea grower shall notify the board of an intended sale or transfer of ownership of its tea. I mean, it is its tea. Why should we tell anybody what it is doing with it, whether it is transfer or otherwise? It is a limitation of right, Honorable Chair, contrary to Article 24 of the Constitution, meaning without prescribing that a property right is being limited here. I therefore oppose, Chair.
Honorable members, before we finalize clause 7, I would like to put the question that clause 6 be part of the bill. Will as many as have that opinion say aye? Will as many as have a contrary opinion say nay? Honorable members, the ayes have it. We can now proceed. The Honorable Geshimo.
Chair, maybe as we proceed with your guidance, under clause 6, I think the clause as amended was defeated through a vote. Yes. So it can only remain as it is in the original bill.
Yes, that is why we retook, and the position is correct.
Okay, very well, Chair. Then on this matter, I tend to agree with the committee on this amendment because the proposed amendment is under registration of the large-scale tea growers. So it's just for the purposes of regulation, kind of. It's not like anyone is being denied to sell, but for the board to know, because they are supposed to register large-scale growers and also those holdings. It is very, very important for purposes of regulations that if you intend to sell, you notify the board so that they can know who now takes over the ownership for purposes of regulation.
The Honorable Member for Gatundu South.
Chair, it is important to understand, and in as much as I respect the views of Honorable Peter Kaluma, we have had an instance, for instance, where companies that compete with Kenyan tea, like a Sri Lankan company comes, buys a factory here, produces tea, calls it Kenyan tea, but to sell the Sri Lankan tea in our Pakistani market. And because of the importance of our tea, and this has happened, I don't want to mention names, but currently we have boats that are sitting from other countries, and that is going to harm the small-scale farmers. So please, it is important for board to be allowed. Put the question.
Thank you. You have made your point, the Honorable Kagombe. Yes, Honorable Nyikal?
Maybe just to help me. Is a large-scale tea grower defined? Yes. Okay, fine.
Honorable members, I now put the question that clause 7 be amended as proposed by the Honorable Yegon. Will as many as have that opinion say aye? Will as many as have contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I now put the question that clause 7 as amended be part of the bill. Will as many as have that opinion say aye? Will as many as have a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clauses 8, 9, and 10.
I propose the question. I propose the question that clause 8, 9, and 10 be part of the bill. There be no amendment. I now put the question that clause 8, 9, and 10 be part of the bill. Will as many as have that opinion say aye? Will as many as have a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 11.
I propose the question that clause 11 be part of the bill. Chair? Mover?
Clause
11.
Clause 11 of the bill be amended as proposed in the order paper. Justification being, this is to incorporate e-commerce, the trade of tea, and to operationalize the provision of e-commerce in the trade of tea. And number 2 is requiring tea to be registered by the board before export. That can lead to delay and loss of clients, given the nature of the manner in which tea is sold. This is a process that can be done administratively without expressly stating in the Act.
I now put the question. I now propose the question that clause 11 be amended as proposed by the chair. I now put the question that clause 11 be amended as proposed by the chair. Will as many as have that opinion say aye? Will as many as have a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I now put the question that clause 11 as amended be part of the bill. Will as many as have that opinion say aye? Will as many as have a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 12.
I propose the question that clause 12 be part of the bill. Mover?
Clause 12 of the bill be amended as proposed in the order paper. Justification, Chair, is the current system of paying the growers work well, and the proposed mode might be impractical to implement.
I propose the question that clause 12 be amended as proposed by the Honorable Brighton Nyagon. I do not see any interest in this. Yes, I see interest by the Honorable Peter Kihungi, member for Kangema.
Chair, I wish to support the amendment because it was a concern to many when it said that should be paid, the brokers should pay directly to the farmers. And it was a concern to most of even farmers how they can be able to pay and they don't have details for farmers. And that's why they were talking about DSS. And therefore, I do support the amendment.
Thank you, the Honorable Munyoro, member for Gigumo.
Thank you, Chair. I also support the amendment because we had issues with farmers when they had said that it would be settled directly. So I support the amendment.
Thank you. I now put the question that clause 12 be amended as proposed by the Honorable Hiegon. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Will as many as have a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I now put the question that clause 12 as amended be part of the bill. Will as many as have that opinion say aye? Will as many as have a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 13.
I propose the question that clause 13 be part of the bill. Mover?
Chair, clause 13 of the bill be amended as proposed in the order paper. Justification is tying direct sales to the highest auction price will limit this flexibility. Requiring prices to exceed an auction height could make Kenyan tea less competitive in the international market, as buyers may shift to the other tea-producing countries, offering better pricing flexibility. Direct buyers may avoid Kenyan tea due to the artificial price floor and reduce demand, and also potentially leading to an oversupply in the market, which could depress overall prices.
I propose the question that clause 13 be amended as proposed by the Honorable Brighton Nyagon. I now put the question. Honorable Kaluma.
Chair, this is the best provision in terms of these amendments because, Chair, it protects the small-scale farmer in particular from exploitation by factories or large-scale farmers who may be seeking to buy their tea at prices they dictate because they are richer to sell to them so that they sell as middle, traders therein. I therefore support.
Honorable members, I put the question. Honorable Gishimu.
As I support, I also see the aspect of the regulations. I think this obligates the Cabinet Secretary also to make regulations for purposes of operationalization of this provision. So I do support.
Okay, Honorable Munyoro.
Thank you, Chair. I think I needed more clarification because in the original bill, the Senate bill, 13.2 says that the prices offered at the direct sales shall be competitive and shall be sold at a price above the highest price recorded at the auction. Remember, this is a direct sale. So you've negotiated with the person, but now the amendment proposes that we look at the prices over the last 3 months and we do an average, which will be lower than the highest price that the tea has had gotten. So I'm opposing this on the simple reason, like now we have the Iran war, so we know the prices of tea, and Kagombe is there, he can say, will be affected. But you see, if such an issue arises, then it affects our average price. So the farmer will be hard put to get a fair price for their tea. So for me, we should keep it as it is, with the highest price recorded over the last 3 months, so that you base our price for direct sales on that. Thank you.
So, Chairman, would you like to comment on this?
Chair, before the chairman comments.
Yeah. The Honorable Kagombe. Just follow it, please. Help us. Help us by following the mic. You know you don't have your card. That's the reason.
Chair, I agree with the Honorable Munyoro on this matter because prices are explored weekly. And if you did not have a good price last week, you do not have to sign DSO this week. You can wait for the week when you have a better price to negotiate your DSO. DSO is normally, a lot of times, you have plans that are you have what you call long-term contracts. So you only give the contract of the catalog that you have given the previous week. So I agree with him. When you go with the average, you are likely to lower and not go for the best. Because we're saying if in the last 3 months you have had $2, and there's a time you are at $1.8 and another one at 1.6, you can only do 15% above the $2. So you sell at a price higher than the highest that you had registered the previous time. Thank you, Chair.
Okay. So essentially you are opposing. Honorable. Which, the Honorable Kagombe, which part are you opposing?
13A, yes. 13.2 that says an average as opposed to the highest. And if we drop that amendment, if we drop the amendment, the import of that is that we remain as things are currently, that you sell at a premium of the highest price that you had explored the previous week. And that's.
Yes, Honorable Kaluma.
This being a committee of the whole house, you see, Chair, if we agree with Kagombe, which I agree with, because the provision that we are seeking to amend is better, and yet the one in terms of B should be deleted as proposed in the amendment. Chair, could we request the mover to consider this position and withdraw his clause 13 subclause A amendment, and then we pass this amendment as is, in which case we would have retained what is proposed, what was initially proposed in the bill in terms of the pricing, but we remove the power of the minister to regulate now the direct sale, because there are already enough safeguards for that.
So then the meaning is this, Chair, if you can drop the first amendment, A, then we'll be able to pass B. So I give you a chance to now. Are you able to do that, Chairman? Mover, are you able to do that?
Yes, Chair.
So then you go on record saying that you drop clause 13A.
Chair, I drop clause 13A.
Thank you. Honorable members, I now put the question. We have agreed. So I now put the question that clause 13 be amended as proposed by the Honorable Brighton Yegon. Will as many as have that opinion say aye? Will as many as have a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I now put the question that clause 13 as amended be part of the bill. Will as many as have that opinion say aye? Will as many as have a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 14.
I propose the question that clause 14 be part of the bill. I now put the question that clause 14 be part of the bill. Will as many as have that opinion say aye? Will as many as have a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 15.
I propose the question that clause 15 be part of the bill. Mover?
Clause 15 of the bill be amended as proposed in the order paper. Justification, Chair, is this is to provide incentive for value addition of Kenyan tea prior to export, branding and origin recognition of Kenyan tea, and include tea aroma, extracts of tea, and decaffeinated teas, which are high value in the teas to be exempted from the tea levy.
I propose the question that clause 15 be amended as proposed by the Honorable Brighton Yegon, Honorable Dr. Nyikal, Honorable Peter Kihungi. I now put the question that clause. Yes, you may proceed.
Okay,
Member,
thank you, Chair. I want to support.
Member for Kangema.
Yeah, thank you very much. I want to support the proposal by the committee because there has been no incentive for our factories to put more emphasis on value addition. And now, after realizing that they will be exempted from levy by adding value, and mostly by packing by less than 10 kgs through value addition, it will give them more efforts and more energy to put more on value addition. I could seek our tea farmers, our tea management factories, to make sure they just take opportunity of this to avoid getting being charged the levy. Therefore, I support, Madam Chair.
Thank you. I now put the question that clause 15 be amended as proposed by the Honorable Brighton Yagon. Will as many as are of that opinion say aye? Will as many as have a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I now put the question that clause 15 as amended be part of the bill. Will as many as have that opinion say aye? Will as many as have a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 16.
I propose the question that clause 16 be part of the bill. Mover?
Chair, clause 16 be amended as proposed in the order paper. Justification is to ensure uniform practice by directors in the governance of the tea sector.
Thank you. I propose the question that clause 16 be amended as proposed by the Honorable Brighton Yagon. I now put the question that clause 16 be amended as proposed by the Honorable Brighton Yagon. Will as many as have that opinion say aye? Will as many as have contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I now put the question that clause 16 as amended be part of the bill. Will as many as have that opinion say aye? Will as many as have a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 17.
I propose the question that clause 17 be part of the bill. There be no amendment. I now put the question that clause 17 be part of the bill. Will as many as have that opinion say aye? Will as many as have a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
New clause 7A.
I call upon the mover to move the second reading. It's a new clause.
Yes, I propose that to be read for the second time. New clause 7A be read for second time.
I propose the question that clause 7A be now read a second time. I do not see any interest in this, so I go ahead and put the question. I put the question that clause 7A be now read a second time. Will as many as have that opinion say aye? Will as many as have a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I now propose the question that clause 7A, that new clause 7A be part of the bill. I do not see any interest. Are you interested in this, Honorable Member, Honorable Gishimu? So I go ahead and put the question that clause 7A be part of the bill. Will as many as have that opinion say aye? Will as many as have a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
New clause 14A.
Mover? Move the second reading of new clause 14A.
Chair, I propose that clause 14A be read for the second time.
I propose the question that new clause 14A be now read a second time. I put the question that new clause 14A be now read a second time. Will as many as have that opinion say aye? Will as many as have a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I now propose the question that new clause 14A be part of the bill. Yes, Honorable Gishimu?
Chair, this is a very, very important clause because it seeks to safeguard the Kenyan tea and increase earnings for Kenyan tea, because we are saying anyone who seeks now to export tea, especially foreigners, they ought to value earn 40% within the country, and of course that will make the earnings for the farmers higher, to raise the earnings of the farmer, but within a span of 10 years. So I think these are good to, sorry? No. All tea buyers and exporters shall earn at least 40% But I think tea buyers also need to, let me.
Honorable Joseph Munyoro.
I don't know.
I'll come to you.
Sorry, I think we need more information from the mover, because if you look at this clause, it says all tea buyers or exporters shall, which means including local tea buyers, and shall is mandatory, at least 40% of their annual Kenyan tea exports within 10 years. So I'm wondering the capacity that we have in our local buyers and whether this clause will be plausible or enforceable.
Well, let me start with the chairman.
Yes, justification to this clause is that we want to increase the duration of value addition to 10 years and back to the date of commencement of business and not the commencement date of the act.
Please respond to the concern raised by the Honorable Joseph. And if you put that on record, it would be useful, Honorable Karuma. Please give him the mic.
Yeah, Chair, unless it is explained that tea buyers and or exporters here are defined in the Act, this obligation being imposed may be too onerous. In fact, I would imagine that we should impose such an obligation on all importers of tea from Kenya, because our tea go out and then exporters or importers? Importers. I don't know. Let us confirm who the tea buyers here are.
Okay, can we confirm that, Honorable Kagombe? Who are the tea buyers? That is what the honorable members seek to understand.
You know, we have producers and we have buyers. Tea buyers have their agents here, but most of them are outside the country. And the actual thing is that they do value addition in their own countries. So the requirement of this segment was to require those people, before they remove the tea from the country, to have it value added. I have my own reservations about that. But now, what this act says is that, you know, this is an act of 2020. So we are changing from the commencement of the act and now to the commencement of the business. So that if you open a business today and you start being an exporter of tea, and you have opened your business today, then you have 10 years within which you'll be required to comply. As opposed to, if you have this business, this act came into effect in 2020. So if you open the business in 2029, then you'll only have a month or two to have established a factory for value addition. That is the import. So that the commencement of your requirement are pegged to your opening of the business and not when the act came into effect. That is what I'm saying that is what the amendment is seeking to do. Yes.
Okay. So, honorable members, I now. Please give him the mic.
What the import of this, if you reject, is to mean that if you start a business in 2029, then you cannot sell any tea that is not value added, which is a good thing. But the practicability of it is very difficult. And we must be cautious not to overregulate this industry to a way that then we are unable to sell it. Because you need to understand, let me just, allow me. You need to understand, Chair, that first of all, when you value add tea, which is a good thing, but there are costs that come with it. First of all, a container of tea that we ship that carries 25 tons of tea, once you value add, you only carry 5 tons of tea. You also need to know that markets that we go to, for example, Russia, for example, Pakistan, for example, Iran, they have a tariff that blocks our tea from being value added, such that if you take it as value added tea there, then you continue losing markets, because then our tea becomes more expensive.
Honorable Gishima.
Why I'm supporting this, because it's better than the provision as it is in the Act. Yeah? While probably in the future we may need also to amend the Act, because the Act says all tea buyers or exporters shall value and at least 40% of the annual Kenya tea exports within 8 years of the commencement of this act. So actually this provision is actually adding another 2 years. So it's a better option. No, actually the current says 8 years.
Who do you want to inform, Chairman?
So it's better because it gives a leeway of another 2 years for people to be able to comply, and also it says from inception of the business. Because if you start a business after this act is already operational, then you are bound by a date which is backdated even before you start your business. So this actually amendment is better than it is in the act.
One more person, Honorable. No, you have spoken. Is it something different, really? No, I want to go to this side. Let me go to the Honorable. Let me go to the Honorable Nyikal.
Maybe I'm the one who needs to be informed. What is the difference between a tea buyer and a tea exporter? To me, that's where the problem, because the time, I don't think it's a big, and I support the time. But what is the difference between a tea buyer and a tea exporter?
That question can only be responded to by the mover?
Yes.
Mover.
There are people who buy tea not for export, but there are people who buy tea just for export.
So the people who buy not for export, do they also need to then add value? Because there seems to be redundancy in wording here. Because you could as well just say all tea exporters and leave out the buyers. And you are getting...
What this act says, Chair, Chair, is that we are required to value add 40% of our tea from the date when this act is passed, which was in 2020. But we are trying to peg it on the beginning of the business, so that if we start a business today, you have 10 years to try and plan or how to do the 40% value addition of your tea. As it is, and like Honorable Kagombe said, if you start your business in 2020, what do you call it? 2029, you will be having only 1 year to make sure that you have all the necessary. No. From the date when the act was passed. But what we are trying to do in this act is we are trying to beg it on the date when you began your business, not the date when the act was passed.
So then I just put the question. Honorable members may go ahead and put the question. Yes? Well, let's have Monyoro.
Thank you, Chair. I think because this affects us people who come from the tea farming areas. And while I support the amendment, I was telling the mover chair there that my worry is the capacity to contribute on what Honorable Nyikala said. I think what we are trying to cure here is to have someone who buys tea and then they later export. So the redundancy actually works. And I think my question initially was on the capacity that you have that will make sure that 40%, they will be able to add value for 40%.
I want to put the question, honorable members, for obvious reasons. Kaluma, you'll be the last on this. Honorable Kaluma, you'll be the last on this.
I thank you, Chair. Chair, if this amendment is passed, it would mean tea buyers and exporters will be doing so, trading with our tea for up to 10 years without adding value. It is too long a period and is against public interest. I urge the members to reject.
Thank you. I now put the question that new clause 14A be part of the bill. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of a contrary opinion say nay? Nay. The ayes have it. Honorable members, I would like us to go to report progress. Mover to report progress.
Honorable Chairperson, I beg to move that the committee do report to the House its consideration of the Tea Amendment Bill, Senate Bill number 1 of 2023, up to clause clause 14A, and its approval thereof with amendments, and seek leave to sit again.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I now put the question, which is that the committee do report to the House its consideration of Tea Amendment Bill, Senate Bill number 1 of 2023, up to new clause 14A and its approval thereof with amendments, and seek leave to sit again. As many as of that opinion say aye. Aye. As many as of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it.
Honorable members, Mr. Speaker.
Chairperson to report progress.
Thank you. Honorable Speaker, I beg to report that the Committee of the Whole House has considered the Tea Amendment Bill, Senate Bill number 1 of 2023, up to new clause 14A, and approved the same with amendments, and seek leave to sit again.
Mover.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that the House do agree with the committee in the said report. I also request that to second the motion for agreement with the report of the committee of the whole House. Aye, Brighton, Yegon. I request Honorable Sabina Chege to second the motion for agreement with the report of the committee of the whole House.
Thank you.
Honorable members, I propose the question, which is that the House do agree with the committee in the said report. Was the motion seconded? Yeah, sorry. I expunged that part of proposing the question and direct that Honorable Sabina. Seconds.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I second.
Thank you, Honorable Sabina Chege. Honorable members, I propose the question again, that which is that the House do agree with the committee in the said report. There being no interest, honorable members, I put the question, which is that the House do agree with the committee in the said report. As many as are of that opinion say aye. Aye. As many as are of the contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. Remember, honorable members, that the question I've put relates to the report of the House to sit again, to adjourn to sit again, not on the amendments. Yeah, I thank you. Let us be upstanding, honorable members. Honorable members, the time being 7:06 p.m., the House stands adjourned until Tuesday, the 31st day of March 2026 at 2:30 p.m.